The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 6 of MMA to the Max, a very special episode of MMA to the Max. I am your host, Robert Taylor, joined as always by my co-host, Joe Hudson. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
And we are joined by a very special guest today, Titan FC Flyweight and Bantamweight champion, Jose Shorty Torres. How you doing, Jose?
Hello. I'm great, man.
Glad you can join us. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to do this show today.
Well, it's always a pleasure. I can't wait.
So, as always, we're going to just name our beer of the week. Joe, what are you drinking this week?
This week, I believe we were both drinking Sierra Nevada. I'm drinking the Pale Ale in honor of my late, great older brother, Jim. This was our beer of choice in our early 20s and so on. We refer to it as Nectar of the Gods. And so cheers to you, James.
Yeah, and I'm drinking the Torpedo version of the IPA, the extra IPA. And cheers to my cousin. Anyways, Jose, call you Jose, Mr. Torres, Shorty?
Sure, Shorty's best, please.
Shorty? So, obviously, I know the answer because I know who you are and I researched it, but for the people that don't know, how'd you get the nickname Shorty?
Besides being very small with a very big head, I always like to say, man, I'm a shorty trying to come out the neighborhood. You know, the shorty from the 90s trying to come up and do big things. So, my dad was named Shorty, my mom's named Shorty, and I'm just following my own legacy.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Nice.
I like straight up.
Yeah, it works, man, and you definitely don't fight like a shorty, I'll tell you that.
Oh, you know, I'm just trying my best. You know, Shorty, the nickname's gone to more women these days, you know, with how music, you know, characterizes it. But, man, I'm a shorty just trying to come up. If this shorty can do it, then anybody can do it.
Cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to that. I like that answer. So, you made your... We're going to get back to your amateur debut, but you made your pro debut for Titan FC 37 against Travis Taylor at Bantamweight. In my mind, pretty dominant. What was your mindset going into that fight, making your pro debut finally?
Well, it was kind of crazy because I signed a contract in August 2015. And, you know, had it all set to fight December 2015, and it just never happened. You know, I had my fights lined up. I was doing interviews. And, you know, I think 3 weeks before the fight, I ended up canceling. So I was like, oh, so I could have been eating fatty foods this whole time. All right, great. And so, you know, a couple months later, changed my training camp a little bit. And I had so many fighters back out, you know, just because of my extensive amateur resume. I was 25-1 and a 2-time world champ, never been done in history, and ranked pretty much pound for pound 2 years running. So everyone's like, I'm not going to fight this guy, which made a lot of sense. And I didn't want to fight a guy with more than 3 fights because I wanted to move in properly as a professional. There's a lot of anxiety when you turn pro. And finally the week came, you know, I had Travis Taylor as a last minute opponent, which I was very honored to fight him because he's the warrior all on his own. He did, you know, beat up cancer and was able to defeat that. So I was like, man, if this guy beat cancer, this is going to be a tough fight, you know? So, but man, you know, a great guy, but I got to fight him. But the week of, you know, usually, again, I've had hundreds of fights, whether through wrestling, fighting, MMA, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and so on. And I've never had so much anxiety until my pro debut because I had so many interviews, and given I'm not the person that likes to hype myself up, I'm just like, I know I'm good, but I know there's always going to be somebody out there better than me. But I had all these interviews going, dude, you're ranked pound for pound. You're the best amateur in history, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, yeah, I am. What if I lose? Oh, man, what if I lose? Oh, man, this is going to suck. So I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't want to do anything. I was just in my room the whole time. And then, you know, when I finally made the walkout, I went on pretty much autopilot and was able to get the win, a chokeout in 2 minutes and 9 seconds, which I was very, very happy about. Was one of my signature chokes, which I think Titan FC calls it the Shorty choke, which is awesome. But, you know, I did the Shorty choke, and I was like, all right, cool. All right, got the first, you know, over and done with, and that's it. You know, you only make your pro debut once, and I'm happy I did it. And then on to the next few.
Yeah, it's always cool to get a choke named after you. I think Mike Swick can attest to that. But
So
yeah,
what makes it the shorty guillotine? How is that? if you help explain to some of our listeners what would make that different than, say, a standard guillotine.
So I don't know the actual name of the choke. I know there is a name, but I like the Shorty choke better. Basically, I'm a small guy, so I try to use my height as an advantage. I use whatever reach I can, and I use my low base as a great advantage. For the Shorty choke, instead of doing a regular guillotine where you have your arm around their neck and you put their head towards the side, that gives them a chance to escape. Compared to, for me, I put their head right pretty much at my solar plex, and I drive my hips in while keeping my chest down, which causes their neck to crank up. The only way they can go is up, so what I force them to do is keep their back on the wall, and when I push their back against the wall, their back can't go up, their butt can't go up, and I'm just pretty much choking the esophagus and clogging up the blood veins right there. And pretty much you can pass out in 2 seconds. That's what Travis Taylor did. I didn't have the choke on for long. He put it in, he tapped, I let him go, and he was already out.
I was going to say, I remember that happening. I watched that. I was like,
let's run on top of the cage. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I wasn't, I feel bad about that because that's not what I expected. That's how effective that move is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people even know during practice. And one of the guys who fought in the contender who's going to fight soon, Joby Kenobi is what he likes to call himself. He a very good guy, but I got him with the choke once, and after that, I can never get him with the choke again because he knew he's like, get the back off the wall, get the back off the wall. And one of the times, I went to put the choke on him. And he ended up climbing up the fence and like flipping over me. I was like, all right, you just did some Ninja Turtle stuff. This is awesome. But I'm really pissed. But I'm really pissed you got out my choke.
Yeah, so
That
I mean,
sound like a good place to be.
Little joke aside, did your manager after he went out and fell, did he come up and say, "Go get yourself some fans"? Check on him.
Yeah, well, like me, I manage my own career, so I always try to do everything myself on like social media, promoting, all that stuff. So. Like, if you meet me in person, I'm a person that always has stickers. I always have posters. I'm always trying to do stuff with fans. I have my belt in my trunk everywhere I go. So if people want to take pictures, I'm doing it, So, again, I'm a Shorty trying to inspire. That's my main goal. I'm not trying to be a champion. It just so happens that happens. So after that fight, I immediately went out and I was saying hello to everybody and just having a good time. And then I was the very first fight. Yeah. So I had maybe 9 or 11 more fights to watch and enjoy, which is good coincidence. Later on at night, I believe the co-main event was Tim Elliott versus Pedro Nobre. And Tim Elliott was the defending champion at the time. And I was able to take his belt when he vacated it to join the Ultimate Fighter. And I got to fight Pedro Nobre too. And watching that fight that day, I was like, man, I can take these guys. And the cool thing is, I was able to beat Pedro Nobre later on in my career. And Tim Elliott, I was able to train with and learn a lot from. So it's real cool to see things, all come together later on in life.
Well, you didn't just beat Pedro Nobre, you starched Pedro Nobre. I mean, it was very impressive. What was it, I believe, like about a minute and a half, the very first round, TKO?
Yeah, it was 86 seconds, and the crazy thing is, after, again, a lot of guys usually when they get knocked out, they're like, what happened? No, I was okay, which is fine. I can care less about that. That's, hell, you don't remember stuff. I've been dropped before against Farhad Sharipov, and I was like, all right, did I fall? Did I get head-butted? Oh, my God, there's a flying knee duck. Like, sometimes you just don't remember what happens. So, I was able to flash KO him 3 times, and the rest was like, all right, that's it. That's probably not good for your health. But he was probably the most respectful guy after the fight. He goes, I'm sorry. Usually when you knock somebody out, they're a little disrespectful, a little butthurt pretty much, and are mad at you instead of being mad at the ref because it's not my fault. But he was like, I'm really sorry that the ref stopped it early. I really wanted to make it a very challenging fight for you. I was like, oh, man, dude, I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, that's awesome. And him and I had a lot of respect with each other before the fight anyway. So it was awesome to know that I could defeat a UFC veteran that fast. And I really wanted to showcase my skills against one of the best, which he was in Titan FC besides myself being the champion. And I wanted to show the UFC, like, hey, man, I can beat one of the guys that has the biggest record for flyweights outside the UFC. What do you think I can do against some of the guys in the UFC? And, I'm still just waiting for my call.
He's also one of the most experienced. Like, the experience difference was enormous, I believe. What is he? He was 18-2, I think, something like that?
18
yeah, he's 18-2-2. At the time he was, at least. So he was 18-2-2. He was a champion in Brazil. And then he also fought in the UFC once. So being able to fight him, it was funny because I just beat Alvio Velasquez by a knockout in the second round. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I'm not getting a UFC call-up. I'm only 3-0. I understand that. all right, I want to fight the best guy. I want Pedro Nobra and Lex, which is the promoter and the COO and also matchmaker of Titan FC. He's like, all right, we're going to find you some other. Oh, wait, you want Pedro Nobra? I was like, yeah, I want Pedro Nobra. He goes, Shorty, you're still young, you're still inexperienced. Let's find you somebody and build you up. I'm like, no, I'm one of that old school type boxers where you fight the best coming up. And if you're in line, then hey, man, you're in line. If you're my kryptonite, then so be it. You're my kryptonite. But I'm going to try my best to train to beat you up in that fight. And, I called out Pedro Nobra. That was the fight I wanted. And eventually it happened after some type of delays that happened.
He got injured.
They knock him on 86 seconds. Yeah. And the next fight after, I was like, I'm still not getting called up. You know what? Let's do something big. I already beat the best guys at 125. Let's fight Farkhad Sharipov. I want the best guy. And that's pretty much what I did. I still want the best guys lined up. I'm not trying to have some new guys being signed that are just, because of their record. Like, I want one guy to deserve it. Have 1 or 2 fights in Titan to show me that you have the skills. And 2, I want to fight the best guys that are in line. If that's, I don't like the whole popularity and politics about it. If you're next in line, then so be it. You're next in line. Let's get it done.
Yeah, and it's not like you were inexperienced or anything like that. I mean, 25-1 as an amateur. I know it's amateur versus pro, but when you go 25-1, you have 26 amateur fights. You're gaining a lot of experience. So, and to draw a comparison, the UFC brought Cain Velasquez in at 2-0 because nobody wanted to fight him, and kind of like the same situation you are. People were canceling bouts, not wanting to fight you. So,
and that happens a lot, which is crazy because given the UFC has developed a little more, yes, they have new ownership now. But they still have the same matchmakers. And, yes, they have called me. They have contacted me. And I do want to make that clear. But they've been contacting me for the Contender Series, which I'm just not interested in. I'm only 5-0, yes, but I'm at 30 straight wins. I lost my very first one as an amateur. I went 25 straight with 2 world championships, which I do believe facing the national champion in every respective country that I fought is like fighting pro-level guys just at the amateur ranks. So I was a world champion. If they had the Olympics, maybe I would have been a 2-time Olympic champion like Vasil Lomachenko. But I ended up being the most experienced guy, and because of my experience, I was able to, 1, be signed to Titan and do very, very well against some of the best in Titan. And so far, I am the most dominant champion in Titan. I'm the first ever double weight class champion, which only a handful of people have done. Tom the Fire Kid, Juan Archuleta, Conor McGregor, and Conor McGregor did it at 14-1, if not 14-2, and I did it at only 5-0. And the guys I've beaten have a total record of 50-19. So I'm really trying to show the UFC and the fans, like, hey man, I'm a force to be reckoned with, and I'm not afraid to put on a show. I'm not afraid to fight the best to possibly put on a spectacle.
And at least you've defended one of your titles. So
yeah, and Conor McGregor, out of both promotions, has not defended any belts. Which, hey man, he has the mouth, he has the popularity. That's awesome. I can never shun anything he's done because, the guy is making MMA such a popular sport right now. It's just helping everyone, which is great. Am I a fan of his tactics? No, but hey, man, if they work, I'm not going to complain about that. So, which makes me feel like, do I got to be a bad guy? I don't want to be a bad guy. I'm trying to be the hero. I'm trying to be like, the Vasil Lomachenko or the Manny Pacquiao, where they're just humble and just like, I want to fight the best. Let me fight this guy. Cool. On to the next guy.
That's a question I was going to ask. Do you feel that, your positive mentality, you're not willing to talk trash, is something that's holding you back from getting that invite to the UFC? Because if you look at what they seem to be pushing the entertainment-wise is the trash-talking Conor McGregor or the nasty feuds between Jones and Cormier. That seems to be the driving force with the new company. Do you think that might be a hindrance and why they're not calling you up?
Well, I do believe so, which is crazy because my weight management specialist, nutrition, Louis Giordano, he's always telling me, he's like, Shorty, it's not talking smack if you're being honest and truthful. If you're making up stuff and just creating stories, then yeah, okay, there's a problem there. But if you really do believe something's true and you do believe in it, then hey, man, speak it out. I'm like, all right, you know what? I saw, actually, if people follow my Twitter, Shorty Torres 125, there's actually a long argument between Jared Brooks and I. He's a UFC contender who just made his UFC debut, just beat Eric Shelton, and now he's 13-0.
He didn't beat Eric Shelton.
Again, which I was getting to. It was a very controversial win. I don't believe he won. And, and Eric Shelton is also a friend. Plus, a little backstory. Both Jared Brooks and I campaigned to fight Ian McCall when Ian McCall's opponent backed out last minute. Jared Brooks because of his 12-0 record at the time, and I was only 4-0. Hey man, so be it. He got the call up, and he ended up winning against Eric Shelton supposedly.
Hey, wait! Are you talking about when Ian McCall was supposed to fight?
I think it was a European guy, and then the European guy backed out because of family problems or whatever the case may have been.
Yeah, and they were looking, and then they were talking about Jared Brooks making his debut on short notice to do it, and then Ian McCall had to pull out as well. That you were in the running for that fight?
Yeah, I was in the running for that fight. I was 2 weeks. I was a week off from the Pedro Nobre fight. I was like, dude, I'm fresh. We just called Nick Maynard. He said no. Now, with this whole Ian McCall thing, no one wants to fight a top 6 guy for like a UFC debut. Everyone wants to win their UFC debut. Fighting top 10 immediately is very scary. Mainly fighting a guy who's already contended for the belt once. So, which had a close fight with Demetrius Johnson. So, he's a force to be reckoned with. So it's like, I want him, win or lose. I have a UFC contract, but I'm very, very confident in this fight. And then, Jared Brooks got the call, which sucked because I just finished doing like a workout that was super intense to get my weight down. And then they called me after the workout. I was like, dude, you couldn't have called me like an hour and a half earlier? That would have been perfect. But he got the call, so I was a little butthurt about that. And, he won a controversial fight against Eric Shelton. So I called out Jared Brooks, and him and I just went back and forth on Twitter. We went back and forth we went actually yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, if not the day before. We went back and forth on our radio show at the same time.
It was amazing, by the way.
Which is thank you very much. Which is fun. I know I can smack talk, but I'm not trying to talk smack. I'm trying to talk facts.
Yeah.
And Jared Brooks can't say anything about me. The only thing he can say is that I'm not in the UFC yet. Which, hey man, so be it. But they have a long list of guys because of the Contender Show to call up that are technically ahead of me. Hey man, if that's the case, so be it. But I know what the fans want. The fans want Shorty Torres.
I want Shorty Torres. To be honest, I do. I want you in the UFC, dude. I think you stack up. If you would have got that fight with Ian McCall, I probably would have put my money on you, to be honest, just because I did know your career before that and what you did with Pedro Nobre. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I think McCall. I love McCall. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a little overrated in terms of his ranking, to be honest. So, I think you would have probably starched him.
Well, I mean, I think he's a good fighter, but he hasn't fought in a while. Plus, he has had a lot of injuries and problems in his MMA career as he's, started to get older. And right now, I believe he is retired because of, I think he has some brain issues that he got checked out. So, yeah, and it sucks. Sadly, it is part of the sport. But, hopefully I get a call soon. Hopefully it's not a last-minute call.
Yeah, I'd like you to get a full camp.
If it was last minute, would you be able to do 125 or a 135?
I would prefer to do 125, and right now I'm in training camp to get in training camp because, my last fight I ended up breaking my hand and tearing my MCL in the first round, and then pushing back 4 more rounds to still win the fight. So I had to get surgery for my hand, and I was rehabbing my knee. So I'm pretty much able to make a fist now, not 100% there. There is some scar tissue that leaves my finger up a little bit, but I gotta bang that into place and punching people in the face. So. I'm right now just trying to get into a training camp session because I'm planning on going out to wherever TJ Dillashaw is at and just train with him. And I need pretty much a training camp to get in shape for him because he goes full force. Plus, with this whole Cody Garbrandt fight being announced, I know he's going to be 100%. So I need to be ready for him, and which is it's seriously like a fight all in itself. I 100% blame him for my win. And I say that in the most nicest possible way. Like, we beat the crap out of each other, and I still had a month until the Pedro Nobre fight. So I took a whole month off. All I did was run, jump ropes, and shadow box the whole month. And then I fought Pedro Nobre. Pedro Nobre was my first sparring match, in a sense. It just because TJ and I, we beat the crap out of each other where we're just like, dude, after your fight, after we finished your training camp, we should just relax because we took so many punches and kicks to the face. It's not even funny. So he goes 100%, and I'm not gonna try to back off. So
you were
100%. I was being his Lineker.
Yeah, I was gonna say you were training with TJ leading up to his fight with John Lineker, which is probably the best TJ Dillashaw I've ever seen. That was the most amazing performance I've seen from TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah, man. TJ was adapting to me very well because, Dwayne's like, hey, Shorty, get a little sloppy. I'm a little more technical, at least on my hands with instead of John Lineker. So he's like, get a little sloppy, throw your hands wide. And I'm looking at, Dwayne Bate Ludwig, just like, I don't want to because then I'm gonna get hurt. Like if I start to get sloppy, I know what TJ's gonna do. Like I know what you're planning, and it sucks. So TJ and I, man, we'd go back and forth. He'd always, definitely get the edge on me because of his experience, mainly against fighting top level guys. And he just how he adapted to some of the things I was trying to counter against and trying to do against him. I wouldn't say I'm surprised of what he did against John Lineker. I'm just surprised it happened that fast. Like he's baffling how much better he's getting.
Yeah, he's in my mind. He's one of my favorite fighters. Maybe.
Yeah, this is a very pro TJ Dillashaw podcast.
Yeah.
No, dude. Again, honestly, you can't judge a book by its cover because you see all the stuff on social media and then the news where TJ did this, TJ did that.
Nope, I'm on his side.
He's a bad guy. I'm like, dude, people leave camps all the time. Like me,
yeah,
I had
Go ahead, Shorty. Sorry.
And like I'm from a home gym in Chicago called Combat Dough, but I like to travel and train at different gyms. It's just how I am. I like to get different sparring partners, and meeting TJ and him pretty much being my mentor and taking care of me while I'm out there. I mean, the guy has done a lot for me, and he's done for a lot of people out there. So watching him practice and do the stuff he does in person is pretty incredible. So I've not just become a fan, but also a friend, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think if they were truly his brothers, as they say, if he's like, hey, I think this is best for my career and where I need to be, they would, with a heavy heart, say, I understand. I'm your brother. I get that.
Yeah,
so we had a long conversation about that on this podcast and on how we felt about it and our appreciation for TJ and Dwayne and kind of, a little soured on Team Alpha Male, in my perspective. That's my opinion. But, yeah, I'm a little soured.
Yeah, Team Alpha Male is a fantastic gym, but sometimes it doesn't matter how good your gym is. Eventually, sometimes people outgrow it, and they need different things in their life, whether it's, taking the route to the left or route to the, right. They're not going to follow everybody. And Dwayne Bate Ludwig was the guy he wanted to be with. And,
and you can't fault him.
He ended up becoming the champion.
Yeah. I mean, Ludwig's the one that, refined his striking, so he was able to do what he did against Renan Barão. Why would he not follow him? You can't blame him for that.
Yeah, you definitely can. It's incredible to see how fast he's improved, and I know he's doing some new things alongside Dwayne Bate Ludwig. So I'm just excited to see what he's doing. I hear he's in LA training with a new personal trainer, and training with Juan Archuleta, and I think he's starting his own camp as well, like his own gym. So everything he's doing right now, I'm just excited to see what he does November 4th.
Didn't he? Wasn't there report that he was doing some stuff at King's MMA?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so I believe he was at King's MMA. I know he was training with, why am I blanking out? The wrestler, Lyoto Machida, knocked out. He retired already. Same thing with Chris Weidman. Oh, Mark Munoz. He was training with Mark Munoz for wrestling. And he was doing a lot of stuff. I know he was at RCVA training with some top-notch guys. So, again, I'm really excited to see what happens because, I've been gone out of the game for at least 2.5 months, almost 3 months now, which I'm really dying and excited to get back into. But I want to see how much better he's gotten and how the better he gets, the faster I have to adapt to it. So I'm just definitely excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how you guys training together is going to help you grow as well. Because I think stylistically, you guys sparring together is going to do nothing but make both of you guys, iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah, it's 100% true. That's why I tell people, again, you can have the best teacher in the world, and I believe I do with Master Bob Shermer, but sometimes you need the bodies to practice those moves on. So when I go travel around the world and train with some of the best, I only want to train with the best, and I need to get beat up. I can't be the alpha male at every single gym. It'd be awesome. I'd love to be number one at every single gym, but I need to get beat up. I need people to – that's why sometimes I even bump up weight classes in practice to get beat up because I need to adapt my style. I need to know that, hey, I'm not the best in the world. I need to stay humble in some way, and getting beat up is pretty much one of those ways for me.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, so that's really awesome. Sorry, Joe, go ahead.
No, I think that, training in a martial art or in anything, any sport or any physical activity is much like weightlifting, right? Everyone knows in weightlifting you don't go into the gym and do bicep curls every day if you want to work your biceps. You've got to do different things and back exercises to work your biceps and dumbbell curls and so on and so forth. So I think if you're at the same gym with the same guys without getting experience elsewhere, not necessarily leaving your gym, but seeing what it's like to be in there with other people and other training partners and seeing different perspectives, you're going to stagnate, and I think You do see that with a lot of guys. So I think that's good that you're going around traveling, but you still come back to where you know your coach and he has your best interest and he knows your style and he sees what you've learned and can incorporate that back into, your fights. So I agree with that, traveling and going to other gyms and training with other people. I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, I just, it's something I tell people, mainly the guys at my gym that are getting older and sometimes need just to venture out. I just say stay loyal, because there's always going to be guys to feed you BS, like, oh, I can get you here, I can get you there, leave your coach and stay, come with me and I'll take care of you, all your expenses, or whatever the case may be. There's always a catch. No matter what, there's always a catch. So that's why I tell people, like, just do what you can at other gyms, get to the fullest you can, without being, just compromised. A lot of people lose their loyalty because they go to a gym, they have a great time, and then the coach is like, just stay here, I'll take you here, I'll take you there, I'll sign you with this guy. It's like, that's great, it sounds awesome, but sometimes not all of it's true. So being able to pick your pros and cons is the hard part about traveling to different gyms. So hopefully you get the best training out there and you stay loyal to your coach, because that's the person who got you here in the first place.
I agree completely. And
Yeah.
sticking on the topic, your relationship with TJ, if you don't mind, what were your thoughts on the TJ Dillashaw, Mighty Mouse, Dana White situation? Did you? I mean, obviously you saw that. I mean, I'm sure you have some more behind the scenes information. You don't have to reveal anything, but what did you think of that whole situation? How it went down?
Well, it's funny because TJ brought it up way before the Cody Garbrandt fight, where he was like, man, I should just drop down and take that belt too, because I know I can beat him. It's a horrible fight for DJ, and I definitely don't move like any of the guys in the flyweights that he's fought before, which is 100% true. And TJ's a small guy. I mean, him making 35 is extremely easy. I think he might make 25 easier than me. So
Wow.
he's just naturally skinny. Like, he's always been fit. Like, doesn't matter how fat he gets, he always has a six pack. Like, he can have the Matt Serra turtle shell belly in front, but somehow still have the six pack. Like, it's crazy. But he was talking about fighting TJ or DJ, and was just like, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll do that after the Cody Garbrandt fight, which is an awesome idea. And we're complimenting him on it and doing all that stuff. And then you hear about the news coming out. Cody Garbrandt's out. Maybe he wants to fight DJ. DJ doesn't want to take the fight because he already had a fight lined up, and Dana White picking on Demetrius Johnson and stuff. I think whatever Dana White said to Demetrius Johnson about, cutting the flyweight division and so forth, it really sucks to hear because it shows the type of respect Dana White has for the flyweight division, which doesn't sound like much.
That was going to be my next question, how you felt about that.
But it also sounds like frustration. He's just trying to bully the guy to take the fight. He's just kind of more, in a sense, speaking out of his ass to take the fight, which, hey, man, I get it. You're the promoter. You're trying to do your job, and that's awesome. But you can't say those things, mainly when it ends up being public. I think there's no fault by TJ trying to take that fight and, trying to bully Demetrius Johnson as well, which I believe a lot of people do for fights anyways. That's part of the sport. But Demetrius Johnson has full control here. And that's the benefit about being one of the best champions in the UFC history is you get to make your calls. You already said you were going to fight Ray Borg. You're not going to tell Ray Borg, hey, maybe next time, maybe after, TJ Dillashaw, if I don't lose, sorry, buddy. So unsign that contract. Hey, if the fight was already signed and the fight's already signed, let's do that. And let's wait a couple more months until Demetrius Johnson's ready to fight TJ.
See, that's what I like. I like that you're all about basically the rankings, the system. You're a purist when it comes to the sport, from what you're saying, and I am too. I was on Mighty Mouse's side when it came to what he said, like, win a fight in the division first. I thought Conor should have done the same thing when he tried to move up to lightweight. Obviously, it worked out for him, but I just, win a fight in division first. Although I would have loved to see DJ versus TJ. I thought that fight would have been amazing.
I think TJ beats Garbrandt, and then DJ moves up, and they play around at 135, and then they both go down to 25 after that. So they get themselves a little, 2 fights in a row, and one at each weight division. I think that's one not only for all us MMA purists and MMA fans, but I think that's one that would get casuals really deeply involved to see those two guys jumping around in each other's weight class and fighting for each other's belts.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I don't know what would happen. They're both very, very good fighters, and I think TJ would have a way better time against any of the opponents that Demetrius Johnson's fought. Is it a close fight? Yes, but I would definitely side with TJ just because of his strength, his endurance, and just the way he fights. He fights like Demetrius Johnson, but I believe he does it better, and he's just at a higher weight class, being able to fight at a higher weight class and do what he's done against some of the best. I mean, look what Demetrius Johnson tried to do against Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz, the only reason he won that fight, he got beat up in the stand-up by DJ because the DJ was just so fast. The only reason Dominic Cruz won is because he out-muscled him, and he was able to out-wrestle him. Now you have a guy who's just as fast, but can do the same thing, wrestle, and have the accolades of a wrestler, being an All-American in college. I think TJ easily takes that fight. Is it close? Yeah, but I believe he's going to push the fight and push the pace and be very dominant. I think, though, because I 100% believe Demetrius Johnson's going to win this fight against Ray Borg. I had no question about it.
Completely
Ray Borg's a great fighter, and I've sparred with him. He does what he does, and he does it very well. I just don't believe he's at the level yet, Demetrius Johnson. But what I believe is going to happen is the first fight, if that does partake, is going to be at 35 because you're going to be the most dominant champion in history after beating Ray Borg. You should be able to make the shots. You should have that type of respect to be able to call the shots like Conor McGregor has been able to do now. Bump up, fight 35, get that title shot, fight TJ, and see where it goes from there. If you lose, then hey, TJ has the opportunity to drop down to 25 and take his belt that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said the same thing in one of the previous podcasts, Joe, actually, that, he's going to break this record, and then we're going to see the super fight, regardless if it's Cody or TJ. And then after he breaks the record, if you want to drop down, then we're in business.
Yeah.
And we discussed this. It's TJ. No offense, Cody, but it's TJ all the way.
I'm going to pick TJ, but Cody is an elite fighter. I mean, we can't deny that, but I will pick TJ to win that fight.
He's an elite fighter. The only two things I have against Cody Garbrandt is one, his frustration. I believe with TJ's movement, it's really hard to handle, mainly with the wrestling and everything that's going to happen during the fight. TJ does frustrate people, and maybe there's going to be some taunting there. So I believe, I just feel like Cody Garbrandt is going to act like Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz fought Cody Garbrandt. They're just not going to have that right mindset. They're going to be great fighters, just not that right mindset. And they're going to be focused on one thing, and they're just not going to be able to do that one thing because it's going to be super clear to TJ, and I think TJ is going to dominate that fight, mainly with the wrestling game. I don't see Cody Garbrandt handling that type of pace, but again, we'll see. I think Cody Garbrandt's biggest chance is just to knock him out. He has that one-shot knockout power, which is awesome, but can he capitalize on that?
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking is against Dominic Cruz. Dominic has basically primarily one wrestling entry that he likes to use, right, which is that knee tap. And so you defend that, you're fine. TJ has different angles, different shots, double legs, single legs, you name it, body locks. He takes you down from every which way. And I think that's where, like you said, that's where he's going to end up winning that fight is out wrestling Garbrandt.
Yeah, I mean, I know from personal experience, TJ likes his double leg with the trip behind it. And, man, it was catching me it caught me 3 times in the same day, and then the next day we came back, he was never able to catch me like that again. It was very rare that he did, and I was like, haha, like I know what's coming. Then he changed it up on me, and I was like, okay, I didn't know you were going to do another move. All right, I was not expecting that. So TJ's arsenal, mainly with the wrestling game, is huge, and I know he's really focused on wrestling for this fight. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do, mainly with my torn MCL and trying to rehab it. Like, I need to pick up the pace against this guy, and I'm just really excited to see what he's going to do next. But you're right, the wrestling game is going to be a huge factor in this fight, mainly with the type of movement TJ involves with his combinations.
Yeah, and Garbrandt really hasn't had to deal with much wrestling in his at least his UFC career, because as good as Dominic Cruz is, he fought very emotional in that fight and was just trying to outstrike Cody Garbrandt. Whereas personally, I think TJ won that fight with Dominic Cruz. It was close. I wasn't upset about the decision, but I thought TJ got it. But whereas TJ would be way different than Cruz in the fact that he does have the power and advantage over Dominic Cruz in the striking department. And like my co-host said, it's not going to be just one straight takedown that you're going to have to defend. There's going to come from all different angles. So
yeah, and that actually, it's funny because I will admit this now. When I first saw the fight of Dominic Cruz TJ, I didn't know TJ. I don't know Dominic Cruz, And I'm watching the fight, and you hear the commentary, they're all promoting Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz, Dominic Cruz. So I'm loving Dominic Cruz right now, mainly because of the backstory of his injuries, coming back, and being so dominant, beating one of my favorite fighters, Uriah Faber and Joseph Benavidez. So, coming in and doing this thing, what he did against TJ, even though it was a close fight, I was 100% biased. I'm like, Dominic Cruz won. Dominic Cruz ended up winning, and so be it. Then I met TJ, and he's like, no, seriously, dude, watch the fight again. I promise you, watch the fight again, no sound. Just watch it. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm watching it, and at the end of the thing, I look back up, and he's just kind of like looking at me. I was like, you won that fight. You 100% won that fight. All right, well played. And it was a close fight, and given to the judges, the decision could have gone either way. But looking back at it from a technical point of view, TJ won that fight.
Yeah, and it's there's a saying going around the internet, social media, when it comes to the UFC fights, is sometimes you just have to turn the volume down to really get a feel of who won the fight and what's going down, because Joe Rogan tends to really be biased, I've noticed. So, especially in that fight, he was all over Dominic Cruz, and I love Dominic Cruz, but if you turn the volume down, you mute it or anything, and you just watch the fight for what it is without having to listen to the crowd who's obviously cheering for Dominic because he's making his big return for the title, and you don't listen to Joe Rogan and be completely biased talking about, oh my god, he looks so great coming off the injury. Yeah, TJ Dillashaw won that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the judges, given Joe Rogan doesn't call the fight, but it's the judges as well. You got the whole backstory on it. I'm 100% sure they watched the promotion, the commercials, all that stuff. You hear the crowd, you hear the coaches yelling, you hear everything happening. So sometimes even the judges need to put everything else on mute as well. And sometimes it's even a hometown, crowd. I can't remember where they fought. I believe it was somewhere near the West Coast, but the whole event was pretty much for Dominic Cruz. It was a whole backside for TJ. TJ was a huge underdog because everyone was just rooting for Dominic Cruz because of the story. You have so many fighters win fights even by split decision because it's a hometown crowd. I mean, Michael Bisping should definitely know about that one. So it's. Are you
referencing the Matt Hamill fight?
Definitely the Matt Hamill fight.
Yeah, one of the worst decisions I've ever seen, along with Diego Sanchez and Ross Pearson. Another hometown decision. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, sadly.
The object of that fight was to whoever bled on the canvas the most won.
Yeah.
That's what you got to read the fine print.
Yeah, I mean, even for example, what was it last weekend? Alexis Grasso fought against what they called the underdog. I thought the underdog did really, really well. And I thought it was a split decision. I believe it went unanimous decision for Alexis Grasso. But I was like, man, that was a close fight. I think it was a lot closer than what the judges called it, and it was in Mexico. So I was like,
We actually did talk about that last week on our show, reviewing the show and everything, that it all came down how you scored the first round, right? Mm-hmm. Ronda Marcus won the first half of it, and then Grasso won the second half. So it depends on how much you favor either side. It was definitely a close fight. It was a good fight. It was my fight of the night.
Yeah, it was a fun fight.
It was a fight of the night, and I think the fight after that with the two flyweights was the Brandon Moreno and Sergio Pettis is a huge, huge moment for flyweights because that was the first ever main event besides Demetrius Johnson.
Yep.
Demetrius Johnson's been the first ever, been all the main events for flyweights. So having the first ever main event and being in Mexico, two Mexican fighters, which I believe is another trademark, the first ever for the UFC, it's fantastic, and hopefully that brings more hype and more flow into the flyweight division.
Which is it's an awesome segue into a question I have for you, actually. How do you feel you stack up against both those fighters, Sergio Pettis and Brandon Moreno?
I've sparred with them, and given sparring is much different than the real situation. But I feel that I actually perform much better under pressure, under the lights, in the cage, in the moment compared than what I do in practice. So I feel I do really, really well against these guys. These guys are both my friends, but again, it's just business, and we're all young, and eventually I will fight Sergio Pettis. Eventually I will fight Brandon Moreno, and there will be no disrespect, during those fights. But I think I do really, really well. Let me rephrase it. I know I do really, really well. Mainly against some of the guys who have already created their legacies. I've trained with Joseph Benavidez, Tim Elliott, those two, Brandon Moreno, Sergio Pettis, Ray Borg, and John Dodson, TJ. I mean, I've trained with so many guys that are already high up there. Cub Swanson, Diego Sanchez, but I still haven't gotten my opportunity yet. I'm just waiting for my call that I believe I wrongfully deserve.
Yeah, and we're going to celebrate that call when it comes up because we totally agree with Flow Combat's rating you as the number one up-and-coming prospect not in the UFC. So that's going to be a great day for you, and you definitely get that call.
Well, thank you, which is awesome because the biggest thing about this is, one, I was able to claim 2 belts in pretty much a little over 1 year. Have 5 fights, get the 50-19 record, which is awesome. But I'm ranked much higher than so many people all around the world that have fights, spanning over 10 to 15 fights. It's really just what I've been able to do in such a short amount of time, and the guys who I fought. And again, that's what I want to do, is I want to fight the best. And I'm just waiting for that call-up. I'm really glad that Flow Combat gave me that spot. And, shout out to Mark De La Rosa, who claimed a Bantamweight spot, which is one of my very good friends in Texas. We're the youngins trying to come up and do our thing, and I'm just really excited to get my shot and join Brandon Moreno and Sergio Pettis.
Yeah, and you're young. Like you said, right now you're young. You just turned 25, correct?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Just a couple days ago, about a week ago, right? Yeah.
A day
Yeah,
before
thank
my
you.
personal birthday. Just throwing that out, August 3rd.
Oh, happy late birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's, it sucks getting older. I'm starting to notice the little things that people told me when I was younger. Like, I know my first defeat, the guy was 23, I was 18. The guy's like, man, I'm sore, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm like, I'm perfectly fine. I don't know what you're complaining about. And then I, eventually get to that age, and I'm 25, and I was like, dude, being an adult sucks. Like, I'm at that like mid-level age where I think I've matured a lot faster in my 20s than some of the guys. So I'm not as I'm not the party animal as much, and I don't do all the crazy things everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are like, I can't wait to be 18 or 19, I'm like, no, you don't. Like, it's horrible. You got bills, you got adult stuff to do, and adult stuff is not fun at all. And I'm pretty sure you guys, I don't know if you guys have kids, but take your kids to the playgrounds. You're like, I just wish I could be that careless and have fun again, without really thinking of the consequences. Now you're an adult. You're like, dude, I can go to jail for this. I can get fined for this.
Mm-hmm.
I can get really hurt. I got a long day ahead of me, So it really sucks.
Yeah, I got a mortgage, mouths to feed, and I wish I could just spend all day running around chasing the cat, swinging on the swing, playing Legos. That would be, if I can get paid to do it, I would. That'd be the life.
Dude, my whole childhood was walking around, playing football with my friends outside in the park, coming back home, playing some Halo or playing Nintendo 64 at the time, and then going back and doing it again. Besides the sports I played, which were, I was a 3-season sporter, plus I did karate in the background. So I've been in sports since I was 4, so I always had something going on. But I don't know, man, I was always outside. So seeing some of these kids just inside now doing nothing, like, I have a nephew who is just inside playing games all day. He's like, I'm going to go downstairs and play with my friends. I'm like, dude, no offense, they're not your friends. These are just random people online, and it's cool, you're having fun. But I talk to some of these guys, and you meet guys that are playing, they're like 20-something years old, my age, talking to, at the time, like my 6-year-old nephew on a mic. I mean, that's cool. You guys are being nice. That's awesome. But there's some, really shady people online. And I was like, all you do is play games. He's 10 years old right now. All he does is play games. They're missing. And he's not the only child that I know that does this. They're not outside doing what we used to do before there were phones or before we even had phones. I guess some of the generation kids today, and just having fun playing baseball, football, getting hurt, doing dumb stuff, and having, the people that shouldn't bring you home. It's, I don't know. It's definitely very different.
Yeah, this generation where it's just nothing but indoors is what bothers me. Because even growing up myself, I played video games and I did a lot of stuff indoors. But I was also in Little League. I was in soccer. I played football in high school and everything. There's got to be at least a balance. You have to get outside. And yeah, this generation where you're just stuck indoors and doing nothing but playing video games. If you choose to do that when you're an adult, that's fine. But as a kid, your parents should be telling you to get outside. So I'm totally in agreement with you on this.
Yeah, my coach and I did a whole TV show about that where, hey man, parents, no offense, you're not their friends. You got to push them out. You got to be the mean guy. You got to be the bad guy once in a while and make them do what they're technically supposed to do as kids. What are they going to remember? Oh, man, I remember when I beat that level in Halo. It's like, hey, man, that's a great accomplishment, but what is that really worth? You have no outside childhood experiences. You don't have no street smart. I grew up not the wealthiest, but not the poorest, so I did have a struggle of going outside and helping people to make money and doing my little things. So it's crazy that a lot of kids don't get to endure that struggle, which, hey, that's awesome that you're better, your parents are giving you a better opportunity, but they don't also get that type of street smart and versatility to know that they can do some things outside and be safe out there. Because hell, I can leave some kids outside down the block and go, cool, find your way home. And they'll just immediately grab their phone and look up the map. It's like, no. Find your way home without the map. And they're only like a block or two away and they can't find their way home. It's like, you kidding me? Dude, you don't even have to know the name of the streets. Just know where you're going. And none of these kids know where they're going. So it's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, I agree. We make it a point, our kids outside playing every day. I got a 3-year-old and a 20-month-old, so they're still a little bit young to get them in sports, but in the next couple of years I'm going to get them both involved in some martial arts, because I think that competition, learning to rely on yourself and getting better and better at something, like that's what makes you grow as a person. If everything is air-conditioned, cushy couches, big screen TVs, ice-cold beverages, you're just going to get too soft and the world's going to run you over. You got to have a little bit of adversity. I mean, I don't want my kids to go through emotional struggles and wonder where their next meal is going to come from, but I want them to learn how to fight through adversity. I think martial arts, I'm sure you can attest to that, and even team sports are a great way to teach you to rely on yourself and rely on others. So.
Yeah, well, I think fighting in general is just a four-man sport. It's our way of getting out of the neighborhood. But, I don't know which one. It shows how old we are when we say, man, the generation of kids today. It's like, oh, man, we suck. But it's crazy that I'm telling you, if you look at Chicago, we actually signed up kids that are 3 years old and older. So we start at 3, which is crazy. I have no clue how my instructor is able to get them in line, but he threatens them once and they just stand up straight. Like, he was a Marine drill instructor and Marine recon, so he has that type of fear he can instill in kids, and it's crazy. But much respect to Master Bob. But man, martial arts saved my life. If it wasn't for martial arts, I wouldn't have gone to college. I wouldn't have stayed in school, and I wouldn't have accomplished all the stuff I've been able to accomplish. I actually don't know what I would have done if I didn't have martial arts.
That leads me to something I did want to ask you. I was listening to one of your interviews. You had mentioned that in high school you graduated with like a 1.8 GPA, and then you look at what you did is you chose to finish college before entering into the professional MMA realm. What was that catalyst? Obviously, school wasn't important. It didn't seem like it. A 1.8 GPA, you weren't taking school all that serious, and then you turn around and make that super important enough to delay your entering your pro career. What was the catalyst? What changed your mind or drove you in that direction?
Well, I'll try to make the story as quick as possible. My dad was a gangbanger. He used to sell drugs. We had a low-class life when it came to that. My mom was a hard worker. She had the secretary job and was doing everything financially for my family. And my brother was kind of coming up living like my father. My brother's 8 years older than I am. So I kind of grew up looking up to both of them, given they weren't the best role models. But the cool thing about my brother, at least, was he would come back to me. He's like, don't be like me. Trust me. Don't be like me. You don't want to be like me. I'm ending up like Dad. Don't do it. So even though eventually I was starting to sell drugs and I wasn't really getting into drugs, but selling drugs and hanging out with the gangs and all that stuff, and being the party animal and being the class clown, which I was voted in high school, which was awesome. I had a fantastic time in high school, but I only had a 1.8 GPA. So when I became a senior, I applied to all these big Division I schools. I thought I was going to wrestle for them, and every single school put me on academic probation. Like, if you come here, if you get lower than a C, we're kicking you out. And I'm like, because I'm kind of graduating with C's. Like, I'm kind of graduating with C's right now, doing just enough to get by. So I wasn't taking school seriously. I was like, man, I got to be an adult now. So right after high school, I graduated. Actually didn't even say goodbye to my friends because I was just so focused on leaving. I ended up working 80 hours that next summer, getting ready for college because I thought I was going to spend a lot of money. I have 3 choices. I can work at this pizzeria for all my life and make maybe $50 for every 10 hours I work, which really sucks because you rely on tips. So please, guys, tip your delivery drivers. 2, I can join the Marines because my coach, Master Bob Shermer, as a child would go, all right, guys, class is over. Go home, get a job, join the Marines. So he would always kind of instill that in us. And 3 is like, or go to college. Well, no college wanted me, so I was like, you know what? I have to go to junior college. My parents are poor. That's awesome. Like, I get financial aid. Yay, parents. And I ended up working 80 hours, saving a good amount of money. Luckily, my junior college was free. They had wrestling, and I did really well my first semester in wrestling. And I ended up actually getting my first ever 3.0 in college. I was like, oh my God, like the first time I focused on my life, I can actually get straight B's. This is awesome. I never knew I could do this. So my next semester, I just got more encouraged, and I just kept on going. I went to every single wrestling practice, even in the summer when there was no wrestling practice. I practiced with my coach and invite people. Oh, you didn't show up? Well, I'm still doing some type of workout. And I ended up being MVP my first year in college, which I didn't have that mentality in high school. I ended up being just a state qualifier. And then when I got to state, I was like, oh, what now? Because that was my only goal, was to get down state. I wasn't trying to place. I was like, oh, man, these guys are really good. I'm going to get my butt kicked, which I did because I didn't have that mentality there of thinking I could. So when I got to college, I became the MVP my first year. I ended up finishing the first year with like a 3.3 GPA. Second year came along, and now I'm the captain of the team, and I ended up being MVP. I ended up being an All-American. I ended up actually joining National Honor Society Phi Theta Kappa. I ended up getting a 3.63 GPA, and my cumulative was a 3.5, which again, I used to call people nerds in high school. I used to make fun of them, or I used to be like, dude, you're studying all day. You can't come outside and play. You guys are losers. That sucks, you know. And, little I know, those people are now in college, you know, Division I and doing great things. So, you know, one of my best friends, Erica Ramos, she's trying to be a doctor now. You know, I was like, dude, this is awesome. And that was kind of one of those people. I was like, you can't come outside because you're studying. Good luck, you know. So I ended up being an All-American and getting high grades at McKendree University, the college I went to, Division II. They called me and they go, dude, come on down here. You know, we'll give you, you know, pretty much just good stuff to come down here. I go down there, I look at the school, I'm like, it's a hick town, USA, you know, country town. I'm not a fan of it. I'm a city boy. And then I enter the office, and I was like, what's up? He goes, I'll give you a full ride if you come here. I'm like, cool, where's the paper? I'm going to sign. You know, so I ended up signing, and given I didn't have my best experience there, I had actually a very traumatic experience there, that I didn't finish my wrestling season and all that stuff, but martial arts really saved my life because I was fighting on the side from my wrestling season. I was doing, you know, a fight every other month, and picking up my record, you know, throughout wrestling season, throughout the year, and then finishing my grades and stuff. So I ended up graduating that college, a little under 3.5 GPA, but my last semester was a 3.8, which I'm really pissed at. That teacher gave me a B+. I was super close, but
you're so close.
I was like, come on, dude. I was like, come on, man. Like, you got to feel, little guy. Just give me those extra points, please. You know, it just never happened. But you know, I graduated. I got my diploma, and actually, when I got my diploma, I won my second national championship in a row that qualified me to fight in Worlds the second year. So I walked out in my cap and gown with my diploma in my hand. And when they announced, I won by decision. When they announced the winner of the fight, and they go, and new college graduate, and I look up at the ref and I go, he didn't graduate college too, right? And then they raised my hand. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. You know, so. Dude, I really, really focused. And if it wasn't for martial arts and my coach, Master Bob Shermer, trying to instill that knowledge into me, I wouldn't have, you know, done it. Actually, all my papers were about weight cutting and martial arts and MMA and how to do techniques right and how to cut weight properly, because that's something I had a huge problem with in college. That's why I worked with Louis Giordano Nutrition. So, dude, man, my neighborhood, again, is Cicero, Illinois. It's right next to Chicago. And we're just the typical Latino neighborhood where everyone's working hard. Everyone's, you know, there's a taco shop, like there's like 3 taco shops in every block competing against each other. You know, everyone's just trying to make a living out there of whatever they can do. So I didn't want to be like everyone else. I wanted to show people that I'm trying to make it a neighborhood, not that I'm going to make it. Because again, sadly, some people have to fail what they're trying to accomplish. But being able to say you tried and failed is that you tried compared to not trying at all and never knowing and always saying woulda, shoulda, coulda. So every fight that I started to win, more and more people got inspired, which inspired me, because when I was 4 years old, I watched Power Rangers, Dragon Ball Z, and
yes,
I wanted to be a hero. My mentality is like Goku. That's why I do enjoy the whole ranking system and fighting the best guy up. Like, yes, I'll fight somebody that's popular, but I want to fight the best guy, whether win or lose, because I really do enjoy that challenge. Which, again, for all the fans out there, I am watching Dragon Ball Super, and I'm excited for the episode tonight. But Dude, I've always wanted to be a hero. Like, that's just something I wanted to be. So every time I won, people started getting more and more motivated. Every time I went to college and posted my GPA online, people were like, dude, that's awesome because you were dumb in high school. I was like, yeah, like, that was awesome. So because you act dumb doesn't make you cool. Like, it's actually really, really cool to be smart. And hell, even women appreciate that. It's not shown in social media and TV shows, but it's so much more beneficial, or excuse me, just beneficial to be smart and know this stuff now, because I had to learn a lot of stuff and catch up a lot when I was in college.
Yeah, it's amazing how that attitude has changed over time, because I know when I was in junior high and high school and everything, like, you were made fun of as a nerd when, it wasn't cool to be smart. But yeah, now that we're in 2017 and all that, yeah, you want to be smart because it's just the way the times have changed. Everybody, you hear that thing about, oh, don't be mean to the nerds, they're going to be your bosses, and nobody believed it. But eventually everybody started figuring out, yeah, that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah, you want to know when my life changed? This is how I know when my life changed. My life changed when I had people ask me to cheat off my tests. Dude, I was in high school just going like, you always knew who the smart people in class were. So you just be like, hey, I'm going to sit next to this guy, or, partner's that guy, or, whatever. So you always try to try to cheat off them. And I was that guy, man. I was that typical jock that had people do my homework. I was popular. People liked me. So I had a lot of things given to me. So passing wasn't a problem. I just did, the bare essentials of pass. But when I got to college, I started off wanting to cheat, which I kind of did. And then eventually people were like, dude, you're smart. And I really started to focus. And I was like, what, you want to cheat off me? Oh, I don't know if I want you to cheat on me. Oh, that's why those nerds used to tell me no back in the day. That's the feeling. Anywho, yeah, man, like, you know what? Here, like, just don't put my name on it. Don't do anything, revise it. Here, I'll help you out. So it was real cool to actually have that tide turn. People trying to cheat off me, or at least people trying to ask for help, and me being able to mentor and tutor people. It's real cool to know that so much more than some people, and some people want that knowledge given to them by you. So it's like, dude, you feel wanted, you feel appreciated for all the hard work you've done.
Yeah, it's got to be a good feeling knowing that you're the one people are going to for the support, for the knowledge.
Dude, it's awesome. Again, I'm more known as the fighter, but to say I'm a fighter with a college degree is very rare and hard to find. I'm just happy that I was able to accomplish it. And I'm just trying to show people that if I can do it and make the turn later on in my life, then hey, I don't see why you can't either.
Which
yeah,
is
the reality
really
of it is you're not going to fight till you're 65. You know what I mean?
Hopefully,
well, it's just smart because
as long as I can.
Yeah, it's smart because you see a lot of fighters jump into the game without any type of degree or any type of education, and it doesn't work out. You basically got a safety net for yourself. Obviously, I don't think it's gonna end badly for you personally. I think you're gonna be in the UFC and do great things. But on the off chance that doesn't happen, you at least have some sort of safety net. You have a backup plan. So that's smart. It's genius.
Dude, that's a huge thing because I know a lot of people, mainly wrestlers, that want to join MMA, and they're like, you know what, I'm just going to quit to do MMA. It's like, why can't you go to school and do MMA? I did it. Like, there's no problem with that. And then people think too much. I took fights 7-hour notice. I took fights that weren't even at my weight class for the fun of it. Before I even had the mentality that I can do this stuff and I'm going to do this for a living. I was just like, we'll see how it goes. And I would always win. Somehow, some way, I'd always win. So I would just keep on going and keep on trying and keep on doing my thing. So, to be able to say I went to college and to know that it's not my career is not reliant on how I perform. If my career ends the next day because my whole knee blows out, my next fight, then will it suck? Yes, but I have a backup. I have my college degree. I have it in kinesiology. I'm able to focus on different fields. And as far as I have gotten in the MMA world, I can be a coach. I can be a teacher, and I want to own my own gym one day. That is my ultimate goal.
Wait, are you sure? Because you said you don't, coaching's fun, but you'd rather be fighting.
Oh, somebody pays attention to my social media.
I've been following you, man. I've been following you.
Yeah,
so.
Man. We went down there, which was awesome because I was able to do a small fundraiser through my my Team Shorty website, JoseShortyTorres.com, which 20% of all sales went to the kids in my gym.
That's awesome.
We're able to raise around $250, which is awesome. It's not much, but being able to buy the small things they need, or just to get a kid down to Orlando, again, kids Chicago, and now I'm assuming kids around the world don't even make it out of their city until they're 18, 19, if not even later on in their life. So to be able to take these kids to fight and travel across the country and be able to take them to Universal Studios or Disney World after is a huge experience, because again, a lot of kids in my neighborhood don't get that opportunity, and fighting was able to get them that. So to be able to do my fundraiser and do that stuff was fun, but man, coaching is so stressful. Like now, and that's why I want to make the public apology to say sorry to all my coaches, because I know I had to stress them out, because I was that little cocky teenager when I was younger of not listening. Now I listen 100% to what my coaches want me to do, because man, it's just like, do a jab cross leg kick, and they're throwing spinning back fists, they're throwing spinning heel kicks. You're like, what are you doing? Where'd you learn this from? No, come on, do that. And they just never listen. You're just sitting there aggravated because you want to get in there and do it yourself, and you can't. So and
you got to learn the basics first.
Yeah, we had 19 kids, so every fighter is completely different. I'm not at the gym every day, I do travel a lot to train, so I'm meeting new kids for the first time and then coaching them, which they're like, oh my God, it's such an honor, which is like, dude, that's awesome, because my 10 championship belts are hanging around, my amateur belts are hanging around the gym, which is great, so it inspires some of the kids. So when they meet me, they're like, oh my God, I was like, dude, I'm a regular shorty. Like, I just so happen to have these belts. You can too, and sadly we only had one kid win in the finals. We had 6 total in the finals. One kid won, and it's really funny because he was the kid we didn't expect. They call him my mini-me because he has the same haircut as me. But wears and bought all Bad Boy stuff because I'm sponsored by them. He wears all my Shorty T-shirts to practice, which is awesome. It's a humbling thing, It's cool to see a mini-me, which he's definitely still ugly to me, but. He goes in there. I wouldn't say we weren't thinking he was going to win, but he did so much better than we expected. And we all kind of pick on him to mess with him because he's just one of those kids that always gets in trouble in the gym. Like, no matter how well the day's going, somehow he always does something to mess it up. And we have this group chat. We're like, Andrew, don't, shut up, do this. And he snaps back. We're like, oh, snap. Oh, because you win your first world title now, you're all bad. All right. Like, I'm glad you got the confidence in you. So it's real cool to see these kids get the confidence, not even just from winning, but to know they can go in there against another person their size, their age, and fight their heart out. It's a huge confidence booster. It's like finishing a really, really hard workout, but it so happens you guys are punching each other in the face during that. So, gives a lot of kids a lot of confidence to do more things in life and try new things.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's a feeling that it's different than when you're out there doing it yourself. Living kind of vicariously through them and seeing what they get to do. It warms your heart in a whole other way and fills your pride, your little pride spots. That's
yeah. It's huge, and it's crazy because, I don't have any kids myself, and I take care of a lot of adopted kids, and I take care of the kids in my gym. So it's cool to see, these kids grow up over time, eventually get taller than me after, 1 year I know them. But just seeing how they develop and become great athletes or just, smart intellectuals themselves and being young adults, it's really cool to see, So I'm excited to see what comes next. I'm excited to have my own kids and see what they want to do in their lives and hopefully motivate them throughout all the stuff that they want to do. So, I'm just excited to see what's next. But it's a pro and con in everything. The stressful part is, you got to watch kids you're developing get beat up. Eventually they're going to get beat up. You do anything long enough, it's going to happen. You're going to get knocked out. You're going to get tapped out. I will lose one day. It's inevitable. If you do the sport long enough, that's what happens. But you got to be realistic and just try your best to enjoy every single opportunity that comes in front of you.
Yeah, that's got to be the hard part. Yeah, it's true. It's the hard part. One day it happens, so you got to be willing to accept it.
Justin Gaethje has that same attitude right now. He's I think 18-0 now, 19-0, and he's straight. He knows he's going to get knocked out eventually, but he's having fun doing it right now until he does. So,
I'm having fun watching.
My last fight I got dropped. I wasn't expecting that, and it was funny because I was
going to
thinking
ask
in
you
my
about
head,
that actually.
I was like, dude, his punches don't hurt at all. Cool. Like, I'm just going to walk forward. I don't even care about head movement. Like, let's this guy just get tired. And out of nowhere, again, I got dropped. And I didn't know. I got flash KO'd, so I didn't know what happened. I fell on my butt, and that was actually the moment I tore my MCL. But I fell on my butt, and I'm just like, did we headbutt? Did he drop me? did I fall? And I'm slowly looking up. I'm like, oh my God, there goes a flying knee, duck. And then I just kept on wrestling and got stuck in a guillotine. But it happens, man. Anything can happen in a fight, whether the guy has knockout power or not. We're wearing 4-ounce gloves. Trust me, it can happen. But and I did nothing wrong. He just caught me in the right spot.
Yeah, and so you did get dropped in that fight, and then he got you in a real nasty guillotine. I was watching it, and I'm surprised you survived, to be honest. That was deep. Was it as deep as it looked?
It was definitely as deep as it looked. It was just hilarious because TJ and I like to make fun of my big head and long chin. Like, my chin definitely helps of not getting guillotined because I can make the slightest movement and my chin is already touching my chest. So I'm just like, dude, you're never getting under this chin to get my neck. The only problem is once you get under, because of how long my chin is, it's hard for me to get your arm out of there. So once it's in, it's in. And so when I got stuck, I was like, well, this sucks. All right, let's just stay calm. Like, there's nothing I can do right now. Let me just endure it. Let me put all my body weight on him so he doesn't turn to the side and finish me. Let me keep him on his back and just push my head to his chest and just stay at center and just try my best to breathe as much as possible and let him gas himself out. And that's pretty much what he did. I mean, he had it in, so I would have probably done the same thing of just trying to go all out and finish it from there. But the biggest problem he had is he wasn't on his side and he wasn't able to get all the leverage he could have out of that choke. But I'm just happy I was able to get out of it and show the people and the UFC mainly that I can come back from adversity. Again, I broke my hand, tore my MCL, got dropped, and put in the guillotine in the first round, and still dominated the rest of the fight at a faster pace than I did in the first round.
Yeah, after that, it wasn't even close. It's like, I was like, as soon as the fight ended, I was like, well, Torres is double champ. You got it.
Well, which is funny because I didn't know. I'm the one getting beat up, so I'm like getting hit in the head. I'm forgetting all these things, and I was like, I think I won rounds 2, 3, and 5. I'm just gonna play it safe. 2, 3, and 5. No, I won this fight, right? And I'm looking at the promoters like, I won this fight, right? And they're like, yeah, sure. Like, because they can't tell me yet,
Yeah.
So I'm just like, did I win? Oh crap. Is it going split? It's probably going split. So I kept on like messing with my mind myself. And my coaches are obviously biased and in the moment. So they're like, oh, it's a close fight. Like, they looked at me like they just saw a ghost. I'm like, dude, I was just confident about this decision. Come on, man. So going in there and waiting, I was nervous. But I got the win and I was happy about it. But the funny thing is just once the fight's over, now you feel all the pain. Now you feel your hand.
The adrenaline's gone,
knee. Yeah, I'm bleeding from my eye and my head, which the eye part, I got 12 stitches in my eye. The funny thing was I ran into his knee myself. That was 100% me. That was the 5 seconds remaining of the fight. I was like, okay, you know what? 5 seconds remaining. Let me just jump over, do like a cartwheel thing or flip over him. If I miss, I miss. It kind of looks cool. And when I jumped, I completely slipped. Like, it was just like you ever see the cats try to jump like from table to the table and they slip because of the material because their paws can't like lock the floor.
Yeah.
That was pretty much me. Like, I missed the gap, and the only thing I needed to run away from was the knee, and I ran face to knee. So I was like, this whole thing was myself. But everything happens for a reason, and I'm just excited to get back at it.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I scored it 49-46 in your favor. So I think if I remember correctly, I think at least one judge had it that way. So
yeah, it was a close fight. I know one judge had it. I'm not the best with the 5-round cards, but it was 1 point away. So I was really happy that I won. But it was funny because I'm looking at all the pictures and I want to post the pictures, which I still do on social media right now. It's pretty much full of Farkhad Sharipov. But I even post the pictures of him beating me up. I'm like, oh, hey, this is how Monday hit me or Monday hits me like, and just having a fun time. But it's crazy because there are so many pictures of him punching me in the face, but not many pictures of me punching him in the face. So I'm just like, come on, guys, the hell? Like, I won. I'm trying to look cool, and you're not helping me. Is this a whole like Farkhad Sharipov only photographer list? I don't know what's going on here. So I have so many photos of him punching me in the face, but I have like 2 handfuls of me punching him in the face. I'm like, oh man, I got to make these worth it. I gotta spread this out a little bit.
Well, to be fair, you were having a little trouble in the first round getting into his range. He was kind of like tagging and sticking and moving on you. But you did get a lot of shots in. But yeah, I think they were just capturing him sticking and moving.
Oh no, it worked again. Like I'm not at all shying away from it. I'm a very slow starter in a fight. mainly knowing it's a 5-round fight. One, I'm trying to pace myself. And two, I really want to see what my opponent has. Again, as much as I seem like a child and a geek going back to Dragon Ball Z, but again, I do say I'm 100% Goku because I start very slow. I like to increase my if you want to say my power levels until I feel it's the right time. I'm only going up in rank going up in whatever I feel I'm going up to until I feel that type of struggle. Once he dropped me and once I was able to escape, I'm like, okay, all right, I'm awake. Let's do this. I'm alive. Let's push this fight. You're getting a little serious now. I need to push the pace back. It's kind of like when you watch Triple G fight. He even shows people like, come on, hit me. That's fine. I want to see what you have. Hit me. And then out of nowhere, he ends up knocking the guy out a couple rounds later. Like, that's what I want to do, and that's how I do fight is even with the Pedro Norbert fight, even though it was 86 seconds, it lasted that long because I wanted to see what he had. He tried to hit me with 2 flying knees. He punched me a couple times. Hey, man, I just want to see how much power you have, how you're going to throw it, and what type of intensity you have. Usually they show it pretty quick, mainly if you're not going to do anything. So people overexert themselves, and that's how Farkal Sharipov did. He got pretty tired very, very fast after that first round, and from there I was just able to be very, very explosive after that.
And that Sharipov fight was I believe, the third time you were scheduled as a pro to go the full 5 rounds, and it was the only time you did go the full 5 rounds, and your cardio looked great. It held up amazingly. So that's got to be a plus and a win in your book.
Yeah, I was really happy.
Aside from the actual win.
Yeah, well, forget the win. But I'm just really happy that well, it's funny because after the first round, my coach calls me back, and I've already broken my hand. I've already torn my MCL. My coaches don't know that until at the end of the round when I finally do tell them. I sit down. My coach is like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just trying to let him gas out. Like, no breath while saying it. Just I was completely calm the whole time, which is probably the best shape I could have ever been. Fighting at 35 is amazing. You don't have to do a strenuous weight cut. You don't have to, decrease your food or water levels. Everything was good. I didn't have to work out the week of. I was just doing saunas just to relax and get the weight down. So it was real cool, man. So I was 100% just perfect Shorty for that fight. Besides my mentality, I was trying to do a John Jones. I'm going to beat you at your best skill, which is boxing for him. I probably shouldn't have done that. As we saw in the 5th round, I was able to take him down with ease and do what I wanted and even reverse him on the ground. But hey, man, woulda, shoulda, coulda. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about myself in that fight.
I like it. No, I love it. I thought it was an amazing performance, and I thought the UFC would come calling. I think the injury might have hurt it a little bit, but I think they're coming calling.
And I do want to put this out there. They have called me. They have called me for the Contender Series. I believe the Contender Series is a fantastic show, but I believe it's a fantastic show for UFC veterans trying to get back into the UFC or guys that haven't had the opportunity to fight for championship belts like I have and just want to move up in a different way. That's a great opportunity for those guys, but I'm already a weight class champion, one of very, very few in the world in the sport of MMA. I was the best ranked amateur 2 years in a row. I've done stuff people haven't done before. I am technically, if you want to look at paperwork wise, I'm compared to Vasily Lomachenko, but in MMA. I am the Vasily Lomachenko of MMA, but I'm trying to be the Shorty Torres of MMA. So I'm just hoping that the UFC sees that as a very, very marketable opportunity, which I believe I promote myself very well. I think it'd be a huge benefit. Once I had the UFC as my platform, I think my social media numbers will skyrocket because I 100% do believe I have the positive personality people want in their lives and in the UFC.
Yeah, I agree. I think that your positivity and you say you're not trash talk, but just truth talk is something that the UFC needs and can pick up on. And yeah, you're not a Contender Series kind of fighter in my mind. You've got a name. You're moving forward. That just seems like guys who have got 13, 14 fights under their belt who just can't seem to get any momentum. I think you're there. I think you've got the momentum already. I think they just need to give you a call and quit messing around.
Well, it's I know they like me, which I do get annoying because I like to tag them all the time on social media. My last post actually exploded on Twitter. It was awesome. The best type of feedback I've ever received on Twitter, even after my win. This one got way more reception. Was saying that I'm just waiting for the UFC call up. I forgot what the exact post was. I believe it was I'm a 2-time world champ, something that's never been done in history, and for Titan, and I'm an exciting fighter, but I don't get a call from the UFC. And I kind of disrespected him a little bit. I wasn't trying to do that. It wasn't my intent, but I know it did upset them because they're like, dude, we have called you for the Contender Series, but you didn't take the fight. And they have called me once to fight a very last-minute fight, but I was still injured, so I couldn't do it. What I'm trying to do and what my ultimate goal is I don't know if you guys remember Pearl Gonzalez. She fought Cynthia Calvo at MSG. One, she was a teammate of mine. Good. I call her my big sister. Great woman. But I want to have that type of contract where they sign me months in advance and promote the hell out of me before I fight whatever the name is. I don't care if it's Henry Cejudo, Demetrius Johnson, top 10, top 5, number 1, doesn't care. Like, I don't care. I just want to be promoted to the fullest because I know I'm a very promotable fighter. You know, I have the accolades for it. I'm an exciting fighter. You look at my history and you look at my fights, nonetheless, my fights, I know I can do very, very well promotion-wise. You know, I might not be as good-looking as Sage Northcutt, but you know, I know I can definitely pick up numbers. So,
well,
yeah,
let's not kid
thing.
ourselves though. But as good-looking as Sage Northcutt might be, he's not exactly the greatest fighter, as we've learned. So, and that's what counts in the end.
But see, that's the thing. So far, you know, TV-wise, social media-wise, I feel that the UFC isn't focusing on their fans wanting great fighters. They want exciting fights, which means CM Punk versus this guy. He's a popular guy. Let's have him fight this guy. Brock Lesnar returning to fight John Jones because it's an exciting fight.
Yeah.
Conor McGregor moving to boxing to fight the best boxer in the world when he has no boxing experience whatsoever. You know, it's, you know, James Toney coming into the UFC to fight, you know,
Randy Couture.
And it's like, I mean, you see the trend there. It's more of, we just want numbers and popularity compared to fantastic fighters.
Which is weird because
I'm just trying to compare.
So for the Randy Couture and James Toney fight, I totally got it. James Toney was talking a bunch of trash, saying he can take out the best MMA fighter that the UFC could produce. So Dana said, "Okay, come on, we got Randy Couture for you." All right, yeah, I got it. The Conor Mayweather thing, I don't get, and I get maybe that WME, IMG are trying to recoup a lot of that $4 billion that they used to buy the company by making all these money fights. That's why there's talk that when McGregor comes back after this fight, which I don't think he comes back, they're going to set up him and Nate Diaz Part 3 for the title, even though Diaz hasn't earned it. And yeah, so when you're a guy that's coming up like you are, one of the best in the entire world, ranked number 1, it's got to be frustrating at least, right?
Oh, it sucks. You know, mainly being in a division that's not known to be as exciting for the fans and appealing. Again, everyone wants to see the big guys fight. So the small guys usually have to work a lot harder to get that popularity. And so far it seems that all the small guys are very nice guys, are all decent fighters when it comes to social media, but they're not smack talkers. They're not Conor McGregor. Everyone wants a bad guy. And so far everyone's trying to be a bad guy, but looks really dumb doing it because you can't do it like Conor McGregor. So it really does suck when, you know, I always said if you do all the hard work and you are the rank, hey man, you deserve the next shot. And that's why I fight the people I do, but I haven't been able to fight the people that I feel I should fight next.
Yeah, no.
Who do you feel you should fight next? Who do you think when you make your debut in the UFC, you're looking at top 5 guy?
Emphasis on win. Emphasis on win.
Yes, win.
Because it's coming. It's not if, it's when.
You know, I run my own like social media stuff, and again, I manage my own career, so I try to pick my own fight. The thing I wanted to do, which kind of embarrassed me a little bit on a podcast I was doing because he knew more than I did when it came to who's fighting next. I was like, you know what? I want to fight Henry Cejudo. Like, I think that is a huge fight. No one wants to fight a dominant wrestler, a gold medalist, and he needs a win. He just lost to the 2 best guys in the world at the division. He's not getting a title shot anytime soon. He's a high-ranked fighter. He has accolades of not many people, and he's just a very, very hard fighter to beat. I mean, he had a close fight against Joseph Benavidez. I think if that point wasn't deducted, it could have.
I thought Cejudo won that fight, to be honest.
Yeah, and again, without that point being deducted, it definitely could have gone the other way. But with Cejudo breaking his hand, he needs a win mentally for the camp. He needs the win. If he loses, what's next for him? Does he end up like a Holly Holmes, still somehow getting opportunities? So I was like, you know what? Let me fight Cejudo. Like, that's a huge thing. I have the accolades. I'm a 2-time world champ, or excuse me, now a 4-time world champ, 2 as an amateur, twice as a pro. And being able to fight a gold medalist, I think promotion-wise, that's a huge thing. We don't have to be a main event. We could be the main event for a prelim, on Fox. That's awesome. Like, something to build and bring excitement to the flyweight division would be great. And then I did the podcast, and the guy's like, oh, he's fighting in Canada with Demetrius Johnson, and he's fighting William Hayes. And I was like, oh, he's already scheduled? Oh, dang it. All right.
Well then.
Okay, cool. And then I saw the Jared Brooks fight. I was like, oh, damn, Jared Brooks. I remember that name. And I saw him fight. I was telling Eric Shelton, like, dude, you're going to kill this guy. Sadly, Eric Shelton just didn't do his usual stuff, and he ended up losing. And just watching that fight made me really mad. Not because of, oh, yeah, I'm butthurt that he took my UFC contender shot and he just beat a friend. But I was mad because I'm like, you performed like that and you won? Dude,
right?
That was a boring fight. Like, Eric Shelton was ready to bang, but you're supposed to be this dominant wrestler, and wrestlers are not supposed to be on the fence. What are you doing on the fence? Like, you're the one moving around, running away, and trying not to stand and bang. Like, that's not an exciting fight. Like, I'm a dominant wrestler. I was All-American, 100-plus wins at the collegiate level, but I don't try to bore people on the ground. Why do you think I stood up so many times against Farhad? Because I knew if I got into Farhad's jiu-jitsu game, I'd be stuck down there just holding him or waiting to get position. I'm not trying to make a boring, but I wanted to stand up and bang, and if I still happen to take him down again, then that just looks even more dominant for me.
I was wondering why you were doing that during the fight. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, that too, and dude, and it tires so many people out, and it demoralizes people. It's like, fuck, he took me down again. Oh, he took me down again. Oh, he took me down again. Like, and you can tell he was getting tired because of it. But I want to make an exciting fight. So seeing Jared Brooks fight that way, I could tell, like, he had small glimpses of being a good fighter. And I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. I say he's a good fighter. He's just not nowhere near the level of people I want to fight. But if I have to showcase my skills against him and make a highlight film out of him, whether it be in Madison Square Garden, which I'm campaigning for, or in Detroit, where he's campaigning for, then so be it. I'll make a highlight film out of you wherever we fight. I just want to show the UFC and the fans that the flyweight division can bring excitement, and Shorty Torres is going to be the one to do it.
That Madison Square Garden card that you're campaigning for, I think right now has the main event of Michael Bisping versus GSP with a tentative co-main event of Cody versus TJ, which would actually probably work out very well for you then, especially if you might do some more training with TJ leading up to the fight. That could work out well, and I'd be so excited to see you on that card.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't care if it's in the prelims. I know it definitely won't be in the main event, but I don't care if it's in the prelims or the UFC Fight Pass prelims. Getting to fight in Madison Square Garden, which is something that I really belittle Jared Brooks on. Like, I understand he wants to fight in Detroit, and that's his hometown. That's great. Like, that's awesome, man. I want to fight in Chicago as well. But if I had the opportunity to fight in Madison Square Garden, to be the likes of the side with Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, the last Conor McGregor fight, which Conor McGregor is technically the most popular fighter in MMA history, and being alongside, again, Kevin Hart and all the comedians and all these famous people, to say I fought there would be huge. Even if I lose, just to say I had the opportunity to fight there is huge. So him saying, nah, man, make the fight in Detroit, I'm like, dude, I mean, no offense, you can fight in Detroit anytime. Let's come on, Madison Square Garden. That's the way to go. So I'm really trying to campaign for that, mainly because TJ is fighting in that. It's just, it works perfect timing. But we'll see what Mick Maynard. Mick Maynard is the guy I need to go through, and we'll see what he has in store for me.
So
I think we all need to blast Maynard on our social media to make it happen.
Dude, 100%. I think he blocked me on Instagram.
Come on, Maynard.
I 100%. I just looked it up, because I was gonna tag him as something else, because I was gonna make an apology of, and again, I do openly apologize to if it seemed like disrespect to Mick Maynard. That's not what I was trying to do with my last post, but he got really offended. And I wasn't trying to do that. It's not my intention. And because of that, I think he blocked me on Instagram. I was like, I'm going to tag him again. Dude, I can't find him. He hasn't blocked me on Twitter yet, which is awesome. But I was like, wow, this is not a good sign for me.
I just want to say that Sean Shelby would never block a fighter like that when he was handling the lighter weight divisions.
Yeah. Come on, Nick. No, but I don't know, man. It's like, who do I have to go through now if Nick's not going to give me the attention I believe I deserve? Like, I know he likes me. I know we're actually next week. I'm commentating for Titan FC 45, I believe it is, and I'm actually doing a huge highlight reel. We're doing like a very small documentary to put it in front of Nick, Sean, and Dana White, and just people all around the world, so we can start a campaign of like Shorty Torres to UFC. We're really trying to campaign. Actually, that's one of the hashtags one of my fans started is Shorty Torres to UFC, and we're just trying to do our thing, man. Because again, I want to fight the best. I believe I am one of the best, and I'm not trying to be the best. I just want to fight the best and show people that I can hold my own, and again, inspire people in my neighborhood and hopefully people around the world that if I can do it, you can do it too, no matter what the struggle is. And I'm at limbo right now. Am I fighting the next Titan fight? Am I fighting the UFC next? Am I going to another promotion? Am I even safe enough to fight again? So I'm just kind of like, just give me a call, give me a contract so we can promote a fight, 2 months out. But I'm not fighting anytime before November.
So personally, me, if I was Mick Maynard, which I don't know, I think I could do a better job. I've been booking fights like in my head and talking to my friends for years now. When Joe Silva and Sean Shelby were doing it, I would love to see the fight in the UFC that we never got to see in Titan FC, and I would love to see you and Tim Elliott go down or get down.
So it was funny because this is right after I just got the belt. He was getting ready for the Ultimate Fighter, the finale fight against Demetrius Johnson. And him and I are living in the same house. Like, he was nice enough to let me stay with him and take care of me while I was there. And I was, he was a good guy. So we're having a lot of fun. The first day we get there, we're climbing a mountain. And we're at the edge of a cliff. And he's, like, at the edge of the cliff looking down. And on my Snapchat, I'm just like, I know how to be the undisputed Titan FC champion. And I pretended to, like, push him off the cliff. It was just like, again, Tim Elliott's a great guy. It'd be a fantastic fight, and it was crazy because after the other guys left, it was just Tim Elliott and I in the house. So we're two flyweights, trying to be very dominant against each other and just in practice and just have a lot of fun. There was no disrespect there, but we actually talked about it. We're like, dude, would you ever fight one day? He goes, hell yeah! Like, you're an exciting fighter. That's what I want to do. I want to fight the best, and we just had a great time talking about fighting each other. But I was just like, dude, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you can't do that because that would really suck. You should do that maybe in the third round to get the advantage. And then I'll do this and do this and do this, and maybe we'll make a very fan entertaining fight. But he's real cool, man. I actually would love to fight him, but it's one of those things that I believe would be great market-wise to give me an easy fight, like a Jared Brooks, make a highlight film out of him, and then put two Titan FC champions fighting against each other. We saw what Shorty Torres did in his UFC debut. What would he do against one of the best in Titan, or excuse me, in the UFC, Tim Elliott?
Yeah, and it'd be great sell because the UFC, now especially with Titan FC having that deal with Fight Pass, now we're seeing lately that the UFC acknowledges things that happen outside the company. So it would be a great sell. They'd have the footage from Fight Pass to use for both of you guys' fights. I would love to see it personally. And again, if you guys are friends, maybe not for a UFC debut.
Well, as I say, like, the Jared Brooks is probably the best thing. One, because of the whole backstory that I try to give people, but it's like Sergio Pettis, Brandon Moreno, Joseph Benavidez, Tim Elliott are the guys that I've really trained with most in the flyweight division, and Ray Borg as well. I think all of those would be great fights. Besides Tim Elliott, the rest of us are all youngins. Tim Elliott's already been through the grind, and same thing with Joseph Benavidez. To be able to fight them and really impose my will against guys who've already created and defined their legacy would be awesome. But I definitely like to get somebody first and then fight them next so people know who I am and we can better promote that fight the next time it comes.
What about how do you feel you stack up with an Alejandro Pantoja?
I think it'd be a great fight. Pantoja's he's a fun fighter when he wants to be, if that makes any sense. Like, I know he's a good fighter. His last fight, he was a little more dominant than he was against Eric Shelton in the UFC debut. But again, watching that fight was the same thing. I'm like, how do you win fights like this? This is freaking boring. What, are we going to take people down? If we can't submit them, we're just going to hold them? Like, oh, man, this is why GSP got so criticized for being a so-called dominant champion, because he was a dominant champion. He'd be able to hold people down and do the things he wanted to do, but sometimes it'd be a boring fight because he just hold people down. Like, again, jiu-jitsu is a fantastic sport, and people can choke me out and tap me out any day, which is awesome. I like to contest that. But if you're not going to do any action on the ground, then it's a boring fight. Mainly for me, if I don't feel safe on the ground with you, hell, I'm just going to hold you too. until the ref stands us up, I'm winning. You can't win a fight on your back. So I want to make it exciting. So if Pantoja, if that fight ever occurs, I don't mind knocking him out in the UFC and then moving on to the next best thing. But, we'll see. I think Pantoja's a good fighter. I'm just not a huge fan of 100% jiu-jitsu fighters. I want to put on a show and I want to stand up and bang.
I'm so glad you said that about GSP's fights, because I've held that same regard in terms of how his fights became after the Matt Serra knockout. And I'm glad you're saying that about Pantoja, because I thought he was thoroughly overrated as the number 1 ranked fighter on The Ultimate Fighter, and I think that had to do with his RFA career. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, they had that deal with RFA because of what's his name? Who owns it? It's Silva's manager.
Yeah, and I think the big thing right now is I think the next big thing that's overhyped and not exciting is Tyron Woodley. Again, Tyron Woodley, he's a friend of mine. He's a fantastic fighter. We all know he can do what he can do. Like, there's a reason why he's a champion. We saw against, Robbie Lawler what he's able to do and how fast he can do it. But he's promoting these fights like he's the best in the world. He's saying he can beat anyone, which I believe he can. But he's so intimidating in these fights and playing it super, super safe and cautious that they're just extremely boring fights. You have 2 fights against Stephen Thompson, and you're dominant when you decide to explode, but you decide to hold the guy or do nothing when you have the opportunity. And then you fight Damian Maia, which is, again, an awesome opponent, awesome fight, and then ends up being super boring because they're not throwing any punches. What they have, 60 punches the whole fight, which is the UFC's record for lowest punches thrown. It's ridiculous. So it's like, do you want to be a champion when you technically might be dominant because you're winning the fights, but you're not exciting? Then why do people want to watch you?
Yeah. So we discussed fight, that Woodley Maia fight on the last podcast, or not the last, but the podcast before that. And it might have been just me drinking because I like to have some beers during the fight, especially the big pay-per-views. But there was something about that Woodley Maia fight that was exciting to me. And I know it wasn't exciting to everybody else, but it was like one of those things where it's like every time Maia shot and Woodley stuffed it, it was like, it was like an anticipation. So I don't know, it made it more exciting to me. It could have been the alcohol. So
well, it was definitely the alcohol. It was definitely 100% alcohol. Two against one, you lost.
Straight up called out. Straight up called out.
But it's, dude, it was. And you're right, though. There was that excitement because Damian Maia is very good at one thing. He's not good at taking people down. He's good at creating the scrambles, and that's how he gets people down. The best thing about Tyron Woodley is that, again, he was an All-American. He has that collegiate, level of wrestling. He knew that I'm not going to scramble with this guy because if I get scrambled, I'm going to get my back taken. It doesn't matter how good of a wrestler you are. You scramble with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and as good as Damian Maia, he will find a way to take your back, and that's how his last, 5 or 6 opponents found out. Like, they were trying to escape and they were trying to defend the takedown. They just so happened to get stuck in the scramble, and that's how they got, their back taken or mounted, and that's how they got tapped out. But Tyron Woodley, he was smart. He's like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I know what to do. And I'm being 100% stereotypical here. It's like the black guy in a scary movie. They're like, no, I'm not going in that way. I'm going the other way. Forget this. Like, I'm going 100% the other way.
Don't want to be the first one to die.
Yeah, pretty much. Woodley was like, no, I know if I do that, I'm going to get tapped out. And I think he made a public post about it. He goes, you want me to be an exciting fighter so I can get tapped out? Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, you're making money. That's awesome. But the fans aren't going to like you as much because they know what you can do, but you don't do it. That's what upsets them. It's not that you're not, capable and you're just a boring champion. You're a boring champion that can do the stuff that freaking everyone wants to see, but you just don't do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he could do so much more. I mean, you look at what Masvidal got involved in some scrambles and was able to not get his back taken, got his back taken, but not get choked out when he did.
Well, Masvidal also couldn't stop those takedowns. That's the difference. So,
but Masvidal wasn't afraid to engage. He wasn't afraid of.
I agree. I
really thought Damian Maia was going to win. Possibly split decision or very, close fight, just because I thought he was going to be able to cause a scramble and be able to be a little dominant on the ground when it came to the jiu-jitsu part. But, again, Woodley shows his dominance when, he knows what to do. Again, he's a very smart fighter. He's just not exciting. That's all it is.
And see, it's weird because I was actually, before, when we were talking about the fight leading up to it, the show before it, I thought that it was going to honestly look like Maia versus Nate Marquardt. I thought Woodley was just going to uncork and just blast him, which he almost did. He just didn't follow. He probably could have finished that fight if he followed him down and just started ground and pounding him, to be honest. So,
man, he played it safe, which was smart. I mean, honestly, it's like, can I finish him? Yes, but there's also that possible 50-50 of this guy might catch a leg lock. He might do something crazy that I have never even seen and tap me out. Let's just stand up. He just gave him too much space when they stood up.
Way too much. But at the same time, it's like Maia's ground game off of his back is not where he's more proficient, at least in his MMA career. It's usually when he has a top game or he gets your back. He's got that backpack. But off of his back, I mean, Jake Shields controlled him. Rory McDonald controlled him. He can be controlled. So I thought Woodley would jump in on him and use his. I mean, he's not an idiot when it comes to jiu-jitsu. So I don't know. It was just very disappointing from Woodley.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next. I'm just not a fan of, for example, again, he's a great fighter. I know what he can do, but I'm just not a fan of him campaigning of, he's trying to be a Conor McGregor in the sense of, I'm picking my fights. I'm the champion. Well, they got to do whatever I want, So I want to fight this guy who's a number 6 guy because he's exciting, not the number 2 guy or the next guy in line because he's good. I want an exciting fighter. I want something the fans want. Again, he's trying to mimic the whole Conor McGregor thing, which it's a pro and con. But if you're not excited, no one's going to respect that. Conor McGregor at least, shows the people that even against when he lost to Diaz, he made it an exciting fight. And that's the best thing about it.
Yeah.
You respect the champion because of that.
Yeah, agreed. You gotta, if you're gonna be calling out and trying to nitpick your fights, you need to make it worth our time. If you're trying to say, no, I want this guy, I want that guy, make it worth my time to give you what you want. When you fight so defensively that nothing happens, it's like, no, I want you to fight someone else. You're not going to get what you want because you're not giving me what I want, and he's not giving us fans an exciting fight. So
exactly, but we'll see what happens next. I really do hope that he comes out and does what he can do. I'm just hoping it's not a boring fight, and I'm hoping he's very, very explosive in the first round.
I mean,
he's capable of doing so much more.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and I personally would have. I said this before. I personally would have bet on Woodley over GSP if that fight happened. Not just because of the GSP layoff, just because I remember what Johnny Hendricks did to GSP at that time, and I think Woodley would have done the same thing. Thought GSP unfairly got that decision, but.
Mm-hmm. And I say the same thing, but Johnny Hendricks is another guy that's slowly going down because of his whole weight cuts and so on. It sucks to see a dominant champion like Johnny Hendricks go down.
Do you think it's USADA? Is it maybe he was on something, or do you think it's the not being allowed to use IV on a weight cut?
It could be the IV, it could be USADA. I think the biggest thing with Johnny Hendricks, and again, I have trained with him. I'm a decent friend with him. It's people get burnt out with certain things, and for him, he's been wrestling since he was a little kid, so he's been weight cutting all of his life. So when you do something where his biggest problem is, one is the weight cut, and 2, it's staying low in between camps. His immediate problem is right after the fight, he just blows up. He gets all the way to 220. I think the highest he's ever gotten was 230.
Oh, he likes to eat. He's made that known.
No, yeah, and it's awesome. And I think he even made an announcement where he's like, I'm not willing to change my lifestyle. Which, hey, man, at least you admit that. And that's the problem. It's not the people who you work with to get you down on weight cut, whether it be Dolce or nutrition. It's not, given there are some bias between that, but it's how you control yourself as a professional fighter. You got to stay low in between fight camps, and he makes it harder for himself the next time he gets a fight. Now he has 2 months to lose 50, 60 pounds, and it's just almost impossible. And by the time he actually does make the weight or even gets close, he just doesn't want to fight anymore because he's just trying to get a paycheck of, all right, I made weight, cool. Like I don't even care about fighting. Like I just want to go home. So it's really sad to see because again, I know him personally. I know what he can do as well. He's extremely, extremely talented. Because seeing some of the guys he trains with, at least before when he became a champion, he wasn't training with anybody fantastic. He was just that naturally talented. But then eventually seeing him when he finally fought GSP, training with some people that are at his level, and him just dominating them, it's crazy to see how much he improved. But the weight cut gets to you, and it just sucks to see.
And I also think that a lot of Hendricks' problem probably would have been the fact that he lost the title in the first place, which was in my mind, even though I was a bigger fan of Robbie Lawler at the time, and I still am, and very unjust decision. I thought Hendricks got robbed in that title fight. And when something like that happens, that can really demoralize you because I think his first fight coming back after that was against Wonderboy Thompson, which Wonderboy's no joke, but Hendricks just looked like he did not want to be there at all.
Yeah, which is funny because I was there in Vegas when he was getting ready to fight and doing that camp. He walked in the sauna. My weightman specialist, Lou Trish, was working with him, and then one of his coaches, Steven, the Warman. I ended up walking in there, and I'm like, "Where's Johnny?" I see Nutrition, I see Steven, and I see some guy in the back, like bald and no beard. I was like, "Oh, cool, it's a random stranger. Where's Johnny?" And Johnny just like lifts his head and raises his hand. He's like, "What's up, Shorty?" I was like, "Oh my God, what did you do?" He goes, "I shaved my stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, I understand that. Why?" He goes, "I was getting hot." I'm like, "Dude, you're in the sauna. What do you think?" Like, he just he really tried to do anything to relieve his pain and weight cutting. And again, I feel for the guy because 100%, and that's why I say my Division II wrestling experience was very traumatic because I didn't have the help weight cutting, I didn't have the knowledge, and I was made fun of a lot. So he's in that same circle right now where people are just really belittling a very, very dominant champion and fighter like Johnny Hendricks, and it just sucks because he has the ability. It's just his willpower is kind of slowing down, and I'm happy for him that he bumped up to 185, even though I know he can make 170 in a very healthy way as he did against Stephen Thompson, but he just doesn't want to do the weight cut anymore. I feel for him.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. He's not suited for 185. He definitely should be fighting at 170. So.
He didn't make 185 last time either, which is really unfortunate because he should be able to make that.
Well, it's like Shorty just said. It's just motivation. He just probably you get burned out. So it's a shame. It happens though. It totally happens. So I really didn't want to talk about this or bring it up talking to you, but it is the elephant in the MMA room, and my cousin said we have to. My co-host here. How do you feel about Conor versus Floyd?
I should just hang up now.
It was a great interview. Thanks for the time.
Thanks. I'll never talk to you guys again.
Yeah. Besides interviews and being asked that question hundreds of times, I hate that people find out I'm a professional fighter and the first thing they bring up is Conor McGregor versus Floyd. Because, hey, man, Conor McGregor's a dominant champion.
I'm only doing it for the podcast so I could tag it and get more people listening. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I don't care about this fight. Part of my language. I have to be able to at least tag it. I'm so sorry.
You gotta piggyback off the fight. I would do it too, but it's one of those things that again, Conor McGregor's done so much for the sport, and that's awesome. And he's technically creating the biggest combative event in history. That is fantastic. A guy who's come from the slums and doing this, but he has no right fighting one of the best ever in boxing history. It's just you have no amateur boxing resume. You have no professional boxing pedigree. You might be a great boxer in MMA, but I know hand on hand from personal experience that MMA boxing is way different from professional boxing. It is, the whole technique is extremely different, and Floyd is just gonna. I don't know if Floyd's gonna finish him. I would hope so, and I believe he should, but I just don't see him touching Floyd. I mean, Floyd has fought the best trash talkers, given I don't believe they're as good as Conor McGregor, and he's fought some of the best guys in the world between Manny Pacquiao, Ricky Hatton, Arturo Gatti. I mean, so many more.
Maidana, Canelo. It's.
I mean, it just goes, and it's crazy how dominant of a champion he's been. How is Conor McGregor going to do that?
Yeah. There are people actually out there that are betting on Conor and think Conor win. Jesus.
Oh, I would 100% bet on Conor just because.
The odds are right, man.
What were the first odds? He was positive.
I think it was 15-1. I think it's down to 3-1 now, which is crazy to me.
That just has to do with the way the bets are coming in.
Yeah, the bets are coming in, the way the conference is going. People are now starting to believe in Conor McGregor, and that's awesome. Because, again, he's able to bring a country and now the world with him. Pretty much the whole sport of MMA, whether you like him or not, you know him, and you're going to watch the fight because of him. And same thing with Floyd Mayweather with boxing. Like him or not, you know him, and you're going to watch the sport to see whether he wins or loses, whatever you want the case to be. It's an exciting fight because you always wonder, can he actually win this? Oh my God, he technically has a fighter's chance of winning this fight.
The answer is no
But
in my
it's
mind.
it's like a
chance, man.
But it's like a 99.9% chance, of him 100% losing this fight. It's right there, but he has that 1% chance or that 0.01 chance of actually knocking Floyd out and winning.
Okay, yeah, I'll concede that. 0.00000000001% chance of winning this fight.
But again, it's promoted perfectly. It's done a lot for the sport. It is going to change the MMA world a little bit because I feel like fighters are going to start asking for more money, which I do believe we deserve as MMA fighters.
Oh, absolutely.
But people are now going to start getting too picky. Look at Tyron Woodley. Look at Michael Bisping. There are controversies of people they want to fight. They're not fighting the next guy in line. They're fighting the guys who they think is going to be the most popular type of fight. That's why everyone's trying to call out freaking CM Punk and John Jones is trying to call out.
Well, that also has to do with the Reebok deal, too. They lost a lot of money on sponsorships with that. That needs to go in my mind. So
and shout out to Hancho Editing. If you ever follow them on Instagram or follow their YouTube videos, he actually makes stuff where it shows the difference in payment between boxers and MMA fighters. Boxing gives pretty much 60% of all their earnings to the fighters, and then they split up whatever else. The UFC only splits up 8%.
So are you in favor of the Ali Act being expanded to include MMA fighters? Because I'm actually in favor of that.
I mean, if we're getting the same type of concussions, if we're getting the same type of injuries, and now I think MMA includes a lot more injuries when it comes to knees, ankles, to submissions, to brain damage, you're going to sleep, you're doing all these things, is 100% should be in the Ali Act, and I was favoring the whole union thing when TJ and Cerrone were trying to do it. I don't believe that's happening anymore, which really sucks to hear because it would have been awesome. And it definitely would have been complicated to figure out how it would have worked, but again, fighting is a sport where it doesn't last forever. Look at Chris Lieben. Now he has brain problems. Now I think he's a professional referee, which is awesome. Ian McCall has brain damage. I think he's done in the UFC. You see a bunch of guys that just have so many injuries. We technically put our lives on the line every day, every time we go to practice because we're taking punches, kicks, elbows, knees, getting put to sleep and tapped out and all this stuff. Anything can happen during a fight. People are dying from weight cuts. We're doing as much possible to get out of our neighborhoods and again, a poor man's sport, trying to be as dominant as we can be and make as much money as we can during the time we are, but we're putting a lot of effort to be entertaining fighters and be the next Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Miguel Cotto, and so forth. It just so happens MMA, even though being as popular as it is, we don't make anywhere near that type of money.
I agree. I'm one of those people. I know a lot of my friends. They just when it comes to fights, it's just I just want to see the coolest fights. So they were all in favor of Conor and Diaz 2 and everything. When Conor Diaz won, or even Conor Dos Anjos won, when they were scheduled to fight, and I thought, no, he's the champ of his division. Let's see him defend against the number one contender, which at that time was Frankie Edgar, behind Jose Aldo. Yeah, but I'm more of a sport fan than I am of the spectacle. I like the sport of MMA, so I'm totally in favor of the fighter union getting fighters more money. A lot of people don't really care; they just want to see the fights. That's a wrong attitude to have. We need to support the fighters. We need to support the fighters getting paid more for what they do, because this is a very dangerous sport, and one injury could just change your entire life. You have people like Husmar Paul Harris that can just snap your leg in half, and then you're out for like a year and a half. That stuff happens. We can't handle that.
He'll let go when you tap.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like that.
Yeah, and it's crazy because even though my injuries are small, I did break my hand and tear my MCL. This is the first time I've ever been seriously injured, and it has 100% changed my life. It is definitely going to change my training regimen, and it might have been an injury that would have inevitably happened because of the way I was training. People don't know how fast we can get injured. I mean, Jason Jackson was one of those guys. I don't know if you watch the Contender Series. He was coming up. He was a Titan FC world champ. He goes in there and was having a good fight. Ends up breaking his ankle. Taking a step. And that's the sad part, is that anything can happen. You know, so and I know he's out for a couple months. I talk to him once in a while, and it's just, given they're not lifelong injuries, and given we won't have pain forever because of it, but you see some of these fighters that again have brain damage and get serious concussions, and it just really, really sucks. You see all the financial support football gets for these guys getting concussions. Well, dude, we're getting punched in the face. We're getting kicked, elbowed. We're not just getting trauma to our brain, but we're also getting trauma from the, to the bones and the cuts of our skin, and we're bleeding everywhere. And it's ridiculous how much, little support we have.
Yeah, CTE's bound. That whole study's bound to make its way to MMA, like it does in the NFL. It's going to happen. It's happening.
I don't see why not. And I mean, they've already done the study on boxing of why they've taken out the headgears, because it's so much, strain on their neck. It's added weight. It makes you a bigger target. You're actually getting hit more with the headgear because of being a bigger target, and you're taking more damage because of it. I'm hoping that one day they do the same type of study, not just on weight cutting, but in the trauma of the sport of MMA.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right, man. And I don't know. It's about time that these fighters get the financial recognition that they deserve. Like, you put your life on the line every fight, every day. I mean, the compensation should be there. You should be able to have a good, 6, 7, 8 year career at the least, and be financially set like a football player is, with a pension or something. Because you're doing it for our entertainment, and we need to show appreciation, for what you guys have done for us. So I would agree with you.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, you even look at some of these professional sports like football, the U.S.'s most popular sport. You look at a horrible athlete like Jay Cutler, and yes, I'm a Bears fan, so I have to bring up Jay Cutler.
Can I interject real quick as a Bear? You being a Bears fan, Trubisky looked good, dude.
Yeah, and I'm really, really excited to see what comes next for the Bears. But it just, I think Jay Cutler got signed to Miami for like $7 million or something $1 million.
1 year, $10 million.
There you go, exactly. And I'm just like, what? What? Like, dude, I can fight 30 times and break almost every single bone and cause so much damage to everything, and not nearly even make a quarter of that. Being an Anderson Silva or Demetrius Johnson, I'm still not making a quarter of that.
Which is crazy because, there's one time in history where Dana, like not one time, but a lot of times in history of UFC, Dana White was sitting there claiming that the UFC was going to be bigger than soccer. It's like, well, it's not going to be bigger than soccer until you start paying these people like at least the soccer players get paid, or even the NFL players, because nobody's going to want to try to put that much effort into the sport if they're not getting paid for it.
Yeah, and I mean, again, MMA and just combative sports is a poor-man sport, so we're trying to do everything to be popular. We're trying to do everything to make money and be known and leave our legacy and be remembered. And that's awesome. But we at all don't get the respect. I mean, even Bellator technically pays better from what we hear. They pay better than UFC, but they're still nowhere near the amount of boxing.
Yeah, and we've gone on record saying that eventually, I think if the UFC keeps its practices up, Bellator might have a good chance to usurp it as the number one. There's just the money with sponsorships that you can keep. But yeah, no, I'm totally in favor of a union that protects the fighters. I love to see the money fights. I love to see them fight for my entertainment, but I'm 100% in support of the fighters. I want the fighters to be taken care of. And I honestly, I look down upon anybody that doesn't think that way. You should be thinking about the fighters first and foremost.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see what happens when the sport starts to develop. But we have the UFC has a new marketing campaign. They have new owners. They're trying their best to do different things, and that's awesome. But it 100% needs to be more beneficial for the fighters, because without the fighters, there is no business.
Yeah,
and that's the truth right there. They need to realize that.
That is the 100% truth.
UFC. Yeah, there's no Bellator, there's no UFC, there's no Titan, there's no Invicta, there's no any of that.
Palace fights, none of that stuff, man. It's the fighters first.
The crazy thing is, like, as much as we can be like teachers and different type of union workers and make a strike to get more money, that'd be awesome. The only problem is, dude, we're all broke. Like, I'm working to save $5,000 in a 5-month span. I am definitely broke. I'm trying to make more money, and I'm trying to fight as much as possible so I can keep on having a normal life while having to get a full-time job. I got lucky that my parents still like me, haven't kicked me out of the house yet. So even if we all decided to do a strike, you know how poor we'd be, how much we'd be just like, come on, just give us something, come on. The strike would probably last a week, and then we'd give up and all just start fighting again for whatever they paid, because it's a poor man's sport. So they're definitely taking advantage of the system, but I'm hoping that the fighters one day try to revolt in a little way and try to get more money.
I hope the system changes, but you're spot on that, so I hope the system changes, though, in time. It's going to take a little while, but maybe the Ali Act, I don't remember what happened with that. They were supposed to go ahead of Congress about that. I don't remember, but let's just say that MMA to the Max here is in support of the fighters over the promoters, 100%.
100%.
And so is Shorty Torres.
Well, you were included in that, man. We, like I said, I'm a big fan. I've watched your entire professional career in Titan FC, so I'm very happy that you joined us for this show. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you very much for spending your time with us here on this afternoon.
No problem, man. I mean, it's always a pleasure, and I don't know if you guys had the pleasure of working with Brian Levick. He was my PR guy, rest in peace. But he actually complimented me after I was supposed to make my pro debut, and it got canceled because I ended up doing more interviews than the main event and the co-main event combined. I was just like, I'm excited. I thought this was part of the job. I'm doing it. Oh, I can actually deny interviews. I didn't know that. So I was just a person that always said yes. And even in real life, I'm a person that says, if I can, I will. If I can't, then hopefully you'll understand. But if I can, I will. And I live by the whole Jim Carrey thing and yes, man, like, screw it. Why not? Like, worst comes to worst, it doesn't work out well. So I just had a lot of fun and enjoyed my life, and interviews are a part of it. So I appreciate you guys having an interest in me and wanting to do it as well.
Well, I'll be completely honest. I've been following you on Instagram, and I went to your website and sent that invite for the podcast, and I was like, man, we're still pretty new. We only did 5 episodes. This is going to be episode 6 if he says yes. And then I got the email back from you. I was texting everybody like, holy shit, he said yes. I fangirled out, as they say. Man, I was stoked. I'm a big fan of yours, so I was happy that you said yes. Glad I got to do this interview. I'm stoked, man. I can't wait to listen back to it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. No, I'm definitely excited to hear when it finally comes out, and I'm actually going to be starting my own podcast with my weight management specialist, Nutrition, so I can't wait for the struggles of that as well. Just having Nutrition in the show is a struggle enough because him and I always, nag at each other back and forth for the fun of it. But do you guys ever listen to System of a Down?
Yeah.
System of a Down is a band where they always have a message, but you never find out the message until like halfway through, and then the message disappears. So it's randomness, message, randomness. So that's pretty much how our podcast is going to be. It's going to be Lou and Shorty, emotionally unstable. It's going to be a big spoon, a little spoon as our logo. So we're going to have a lot of fun and do our thing. And hopefully we're not. From what we know, we won't have guests on the show unless they're in person. So we're doing the whole, Skype thing where he Skypes, I Skype, and the Skypes will be together, but in like a coincide video. But if we have a guest in the show, they're going to be either sitting next to Lou or him. Like they can't call in; they have to be sitting next to each other. So I'm really excited to see how this thing works out. And we're just going to have a lot of fun, man. So it's I just appreciate everyone supporting me along my training camp and everything else.
All right, so I know you're all over social media. I know you mentioned it earlier during conversations, but do you want to just spout everything out again, to where they could get a hold of you, where they could follow you, how they could find your fights, and just let everybody know?
Yeah, for sure. So again, if anybody wants to support me, I really do appreciate it. I do say, if it weren't for the fans, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And that's why I always say we can, we will, together we are Team Shorty. That's every single hashtag that I use in every single post. If you want to follow me on Instagram, Jose Shorty Torres, Twitter, Shorty Torres 125, on Facebook, Jose Shorty Torres, low quotations around Shorty. If you want to support the team, I do a lot of fundraisers where 20% of all my earnings go to the kids. I'm not trying to make a living. My stuff's not expensive, and it's all great material. Again, I don't make much money off of this. It's just enough to get by and enough to help and support my community as well. So JoseShortyTours.com, and soon enough, you could also go to TeamShorty.com, which will link to the same website. And again, I just appreciate everything, and I hope everyone looks forward to the podcast with Nutrition and I. And I'm just really excited and really happy, one, to listen to this interview. I had a great time, and just hopefully do it again and see what's next for me.
Yeah, man, honestly, I'd love to have you back for one of our normal shows where we just review UFC fights or Bellator fights. You're knowledgeable, and you're actually really cool, man. Like, just outside of, oh, it's Jose Shorty Torres, yay. You're a cool cat, man. You're a cool guy. So I'd love to actually have you sitting down and just reviewing the fights with us one time. That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome, and I believe your statement is 100% biased because I mentioned Dragon Ball Z. Dude,
maybe.
Well, I mean, what was it, like Fanside MMA from Sports Illustrated? I pretty much did the whole sports analyst for the Woodley Maya fight, Brandon Moreno Pettis, Alexis Grasso and her fight, Cyborg. I mean, I've done a lot of sports analyst stuff, so I'd love to do it. And I'm trying to, expand my career and do as much as possible. So again, if I can, I will. And I appreciate all the support along the way.
Awesome. No, we'd love to have you, man. It would be cool just to sit back and just relax and just go over the fights. That's all we do. We're not super professional. We're just podcasts trying to make their way.
There's a couple of guys who love fights, love to talk about them and love watching them.
Well, it's awesome, man. If you have fun doing it, I don't see why not. At least you're doing your job, right?
Yep.
Exactly. All right, Joe. Well, he got his stuff out. Why don't you get your social media out real quick?
Yeah, if you want to get in touch with me on Twitter, JoeHud45 on Twitter. Instagram, MMA to the max, Joe. That's the number 2. And then those are the ways to get a hold of me. Robert, you're up.
So if you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, that's at It's Rock Robster. No apostrophe, obviously. Instagram, MMA to the max, Rob. Get a hold of us on Facebook. It's facebook.com/MMA to the max podcast. We have a giveaway coming up, being sponsored by Southern California Verizon, giving away a JBL Flip 4 Bluetooth speaker. If you want to enter in that contest to win this speaker, just like the show's Facebook page, like I said, at MMA to the max. Facebook.com/MMA to the max podcast. Like the page, listen to the show with Titan FC dual champ Jose Shorty Torres. Share the show, get everybody listening. The more people entering, the better. We're going to give that away, the winner away, next episode. The only way you can find out if you won is on that next episode. We're not going to post it on social media. We're going to make you listen to the show because we are shady like that. So, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know if this helps, but I actually just liked the page because I want my chance to win this JBL speaker. So.
Oh yeah, no, you're definitely involved in it. If you don't mind, though, I'm probably gonna pimp that out just so everybody knows. I'm gonna screenshot that and be like, look who liked our page.
Yeah, you know what? Let me do it for you. I'm gonna. What was this? God, let me go back to it. I'm telling you, I'll screenshot and send it to you right now. I just like the page.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I appreciate it. This is I'm glad you did it. We finally found our voice, I think, on this podcast. So.
Oh, send you the picture right now.
Thanks a lot.
No problem. I really want this JBL speaker now. I'm trying for it. I'm trying. Sorry, fans. These guys are biased. They like me a little bit. They want me on the show next time. I feel like they're going to have to work for this now. Sorry, guys. You lost the JBL speaker.
Oh, man. I feel like we're going to have to fix the drawing now.
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding.
Come on, Robert.
I can't do that. But, no, I appreciate it. So, yeah, if you guys want to enter to win the speaker, facebook.com/MMA to the max podcast, or hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. Jose Shorty Torres, man, I appreciate you hanging out with us. We got to get you back.
No problem, man. It's a pleasure, and I can't wait.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. Hey, we'll talk to you soon, dude. Have a good one. Hey, best of luck to your recovery, and I hope to see you in the UFC soon.
Anytime, guys. And hell, I definitely can't wait to see myself in the UFC, too. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, enjoy your weekend, brother.
You as well.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.